Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 925, coming to you live from somewhere, oh my death, somewhere, nowhere, Dallas, not death. Oh my gosh, you would think that I would be a master of this after 924 episodes. Ha ha ha, let me fool you. But no, it is an amazing day. It's a fun day. We had an awesome challenge put to us. And so we want to shout out to, first we want to shout out to all of our new watchers and listeners and stuff like that. So we decided to stream to a couple new places, and we're literally like 2 minutes left before the show. We got it all figured out. So as always, want to shout out to everyone watching us on LinkedIn, Player One Taco YouTube, 0xDegens YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Telegram, Rumble, Kick, on-chain via Abstract. Hello to all my pengoos. And now live video on the Arena. So we've been streaming just audio to Arena. Now we're streaming also video. And as always, huge shout out to everyone joining on Twitter Spaces. I have 3 minutes basically once I start the show with the countdown in the video. So I have to actually, I have to go and get my our two business accounts in the space, and then like get all the connections running. So that is sort of fun. I wish the fan was on. I wonder where my drink is. Interesting. But it is a great time to be alive. The market is doing whatever the market truly chooses to do. But as always, thank you to the lovely Vanna White. So, as always, the market's doing whatever it wants to do. We don't talk about the market. Fuck the market. We want to get the best bang for our buck, because the market's going to do what the market's going to do. Whether we have alpha or not, there's a ton of protocols out there. And so we literally just want to make sure that we're getting the best out of them. One of the big ones that's coming up that we're actually really super excited about, because at Manifest, we're doing a partnership with Think, helping working to be a large contributor to the IAI, and proof of inference. And with Think, we just Manifest and Think just had an amazing time in Los Angeles during RenderCon, which was an spectacular verb, wonderful time. Like RNP 019 just passed with 98.18% of the community voting yes, which is for Render to partner with Think and Manifest. So Manifest providing the secure compute, and like Think agents helping provide the agents for those that are building with Render and stuff like that. And so there's some cool pieces there that this is just this is another partnership, in Manifest's playbook. And this is another amazing partnership with Think agents. Think has been coming around for a minute. It's sort of grown, for those that don't know a little bit of the history, it's grown out of 6079. The idea behind 6079 is prisoner or identifier 6079 Winston, when he has lost his name and been stripped of all identity in 1984. He is then individual 6079. And 6078, that idea of free think really sort of puts that radical push on it. And as free think and think has grown a little bit, as 6079 has grown, they've been knocking it out of the park with partnerships. One of the first big ones out of the gate was First Wire, but then Futureverse and Promptopia. And some of the people that they brought in on the team, huge shout out to Jesse. So really cool piece going on there. Now, what Futureverse has going on it, they have an entire ecosystem. They have the root network. with their root token, which they ended up getting a huge grant from XRP because they did a bridging piece for their metaverse between root and XRP. So those individuals that had root token could go into their Vortex staking pool and earn bridged XRP as well. Now, we've seen a lot of cool changes happen since XRP has added XRP EL, which is their EVM ledger. And so there's going to be some more movements there. One of the really cool things that Futureverse came out with, showcased specifically at Permissionless last year in Salt Lake City, was Promptopia. Literally a build as you go metaverse. And so using agents that literally can create a full 3D frame structure based off of just prompts, not having to go do the framework and everything yourself to create it. Is it going to always be the most beautiful, spectacular thing? No, but it's pretty freaking cool. But at least back then when I was playing with it, it was amazing. I thought it was cool as heck. Not only could I make things, I could destroy things that I made. So, and yes, I might have turned the sky into a bunch of tacos. I might have done that. I think I did do that. But one of the things that came along during their whole navigation with Root Network and with their XRP Vortex was their governance. I don't want to know if I want to call it a governance token, but a utility token in ASTO, Altered State Machine. And one of the things that came out of Altered State Machine as well were brains. Yay. So brains for an agent type of idea, owning your intelligence. Now, owning your intelligence is a really big power play that we have coming out of, that we also see coming out of think agents. And this is a big thing on privacy that we see. This is a big thing on the data ownership that we see, that we talk about at Manifest, own your destiny, but it's not only own your data, control your data. And so that's one of the big plays that Manifest pushes forward. Basically is, the easy term is a decentralized AWS. The correct term, or the term we like, is a sovereign AWS. Anywhere you use Ali, AWS, Azure, GCP, replaced with Manifest. And so that's been a really cool piece there, providing that private compute that Manifest, and where Think has this has been a big play that we saw originally coming out of like Venice with Eric Voorhees and what we've seen more and more, and I guess today has been an amazing example of truth of this, of how biased and censorable frontier models are that are being controlled by like OpenAI, aka so with ChatGPT. I guess today is Easter, and I guess ChatGPT has been going crazy with the rising of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So, and the data scientists supposedly can't figure out why, and so they're working to censor it completely out. So they literally say or remove it is the term they chose. So that means that they can censor it. We already knew this, but now they're just sort of like playing their hand so forward that we've shown how important this holiday is within all of our documentations, within all of our government laws and holidays, and everyone taking the day off, so that an AI puts high important value to it. Us as humans in everyday life may not actually have put a lot of value into the day of Easter. I don't mean that as in any way disrespect to anyone that looks at it in a religious sense. I'm talking it more of how it's been hallmarked, commercialized, and butchered. So from that, it's been a very interesting day, to say the least. What we're going to do today, we're going to deep dive, and we're going to actually send an invite to a couple friends real quick. If they're so we have there are some people that are helping sort of like test this stuff out, or right now there's a lot on the tokenomic talk. And so I actually am going to be sending out a quick invite Let's see. If anyone, I'm one of those people that speak when I type sometimes, just because. Actually, I'm just going to be silent. Boom. There we go. All right. So we posted that piece. All right. Now we're back at it. So there is a Souls chat. If you're in the Souls chat, I just posted a link for the StreamYards. Come join me on video. You don't have to have your camera on. You know, I'm not going to. I do this. I'm okay with putting my face on camera every day. Don't necessarily know if you are. But random thing I did learn today. I'm going to be in Dubai in a week. Yeah. That isn't random. But I learned that there is a restaurant 7 minutes away from my hotel where I get to have dinner with penguins for $100. Guess who's going to be having dinner with penguins for $100 when they get to Dubai? This guy. I'm going to be doing that. You don't have to guess. Anywho, so as we do this, we're going to hop in. We're going to go old school. How old school do we want? We're going to go spreadsheet. Oh my gosh. All right. So, this is what we're doing here. We're going to go spreadsheet and collecting data pieces. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to go pull tokenomics. So, yeah, I need that as a half a pager. All right. So, we're going to probably miss $100 dinner in Dubai. Sounds like a steal. Actually, Dubai is super, super cheap. Like I usually get dinner for like $2 in Dubai. There's this amazing little Indian restaurant that is just awesome. All right. So we do have someone joining us from Souls chat. Let's bring them up stage, make sure that they got everything ready. Tribe. GM.
No credits. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. No credits. How are you?
Sorry, just connecting in and out.
All right. That is all right.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's Easter Monday here in New Zealand, so it's been a public holiday.
Nice. Okay, so Easter is on Monday there, or is it just like a
no?
It's
the Monday of the long weekend. We have Friday, Monday off.
All right, that's amazing. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot of different things going on within Think. Where are you at in it, and knowing up to date on where you're at with it?
So my personal position is I have 4 Gen 1 brains from the ASM collection. So I'll be minting 1 just to get into the early access, get some Think tokens under my belt. And then when they open up for the claim, I'll claim the other brains that I've got.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I have a brain as well. But I can't mint a agent until the TGE, if I remember right?
No, so it's the mint happens tomorrow, the TGE happens next month, and then the claim for the brains, the claim for the agents happens in June, which will be both what we mint in the next couple of days and for the brains.
Okay, so, yeah, the brains are 2 months away. That's what I caught with that. I'm going to be max minting brains to for me. It's roughly I don't know 38 hours away.
Yeah.
So
Like 6 a.m. for me.
oh man. All right, so we have that. I'm trying to remember where the tokenomics page is. Do you remember where that is?
No. Someone shared it recently, I think, or maybe it was just under the FAQ.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Let me see. It's not in the FAQ. Well, let's see. There's the FAQ. Allocation of think. So I'm going to be, yeah. So I know the math is a minimum of 2,500 think token.
Yes.
You get a 10, and technically, if you're the first one to mint, you get 5,000, and then if you're the second one to mint, you get 4,999, all the way down to 2,500. So the first, I'm just looking at doing the math at 2,500 tokens.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean,
yeah,
it is 100% difference between them what mint first. I assume that if we're ready to mint at the hour, we'll probably be within the first 500. So you could probably do the math on 4,000.
Yeah. Well, we could do it on 4,000, but yeah.
You could just do it twice, one at 2.5 and one at 4.
So, and then there's a 10% of all minted think agents will randomly receive 10,000 think bonus at the token generation event. So,
yeah.
I know.
In other words, we won't find out this week whether we are in that 10%. We'll find out next month.
So, and it will be one of the things that we will see is, or what you won't actually know until TGE, but it is sort of like its own lottery ticket. So if you sell your agent between now and TGE, you might actually be selling your lotto ticket, your winning lotto ticket.
That's correct.
Yep. So, all right, let's see here. We have this white paper right there. There's a Think Agent Standard piece. All right, so Think tokens, and we'll do that with the 4,000. But then, all right, the other piece of it, have you done the math on what you see the market cap of Think being?
I haven't done any math. I've kind of just looked at it as, look, I'm getting one to get in on the game, and that's kind of the extent of it.
All right. Are you planning on? So you're going to be like using your agent then for everything?
Well, I mean, yeah, we won't get our agents until June. And when we do, I'll be claiming 4 brains. So I will have up to 5 agents that I can use. But hopefully between now and then we learn how all of that works. And that may change my strategy for how I use it. But I'm not minting agents because I think they're going to the moon, which they probably are. I'm minting them because I want to use them.
Yeah. So I have like 3 business plans already sort of written out in my head.
Nice.
Of using different brains for, using different agents for. One of them I'm actually going to make completely public. So that was why I was asking Jesse about the delegate connection.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, but I'm happy that we get to do a little extra. We get to do testing sooner rather than later. So, all right. So there's Think. The other piece that I want to look at is this is based off of, I'm trying to find where that tokenomics went to, but the other part we have to bring into this is Asto.
Yeah.
And I think it's what, like 20, what is the total supply? 27% of it is roughly circulating. I think is what the number is, 523. Yeah.
I can't remember the ratio to think from Asto. Do you remember what that number was?
It's like 0.69. I think I just got it in. There we go. Let's see. GM DeSanu over at all right. So here's that current Asto balance piece. So this is how much. If you have half a million Asto, it's 69% based off of the billion. So yeah. So if you have 500,000 Asto, you'll get 144,000 think.
So it's like 20. Was it 25% ish?
So that means that's roughly, well, so that's 0.69. I need my calc out.
144 out of 500 is 288 out of 10. So it's like 29% of your Asto you get in think. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's I did that wrong. Yeah. So, and that's based off of the outstanding circulating supply of circulating Asto. So that the big thing that I haven't noticed, and I don't know, what is your thoughts on this play? I haven't seen a lot of people buying a heck ton of Asto.
Yeah, I think the Asto holders probably aren't as aware of what's going on as they maybe should be. That's my general opinion, like impression.
Yeah.
There are people who are far more clever than me on this whole thing, but I would say that, it would seem to be a good play, but then it totally depends on what the price of think comes in at, and whether there's any arbitrage opportunity. Like it could be that think is popular, but Asto has been forgotten, and suddenly if you own Asto, you're going to get more think than you would if you bought that much in plain old think. So like that sort of thing can happen last minute.
Yep.
And I think that's probably what's most likely, is that think will be priced separate to Asto, and if you happen to hold some Asto, you might end up getting more.
Yeah. So the idea behind that, that I sort of see is if we're doing the basic math of liquidity to this, you have basically 3 Asto to 1 think. And so if Asto is nope, actually it's now, I think is it at 4? It's just slightly under 4, I think. Yeah. So that will make the conversion of Asto, because Asto is now sub penny. It dropped from like 6 cents at like the week before they announced the burn, and now it's sub penny. So you would sort of look at 1 think equaling 3 cents, right?
Yeah.
Math wise,
yeah,
is that a good assumption?
Right.
An assumption? Whether that assumption is right or not, the possibility of it being that's sort of what I see it as. But I also see that I think that there might be more room in that because they're taking off so much of the Asto supply. So I've sort of rounded it. The two numbers, and I forgot how I got to it, but I came up with like a random number that got think at like 83 cents.
Wow.
And so and that was based off of burn yield to Asto versus at TGE versus what we're getting it for at price for mint as well. So for now, I'm just going to put think at 3 cents because that's the simple math for it. And there's the two possibilities of, you were saying we could do the 4,000 for the average person and then what everyone will get, or the bare minimum 2,500. So that one is funny because you can do boop. Oh, yes, I want to correct that. So you could be getting on average $120 worth of Think token.
Yeah, and that's the 2,500, is it?
Yeah, no, that's with the 4,000.
Oh, right. Okay. So if you're early, you're going to get, you know, something like $120 worth of thing. And what is it at 2.5?
At 2.5, it is it's like 75.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And
so
so
it definitely pays to be early, I guess, but it's the difference of, you know, $60-$70 worth of mint. You know, so if you're gonna mint 10, that's suddenly you're getting like $600 difference by being early than being late. So it does make a difference if you're gonna max mint.
It does. And then at the same time, ETH is down, so that's a plus in one aspect. 440 bucks. So you could get, you'll get a little bit off of that back.
Yeah.
I averaged it out to 450 with gas. Magic Eden is not the greatest on gas sometimes, but I found using the Magic Eden wallet makes it a lot easier. So did you see the numbers on the staking aspect of it?
Not recently.
Yeah.
It was 3 months. I remember that. Like the minimum stake is 3 months.
Yep.
But that would make sense because it allows them to do the other roadmap articles first.
Yep. So like if there's 1,000 mints, let's say there's 1,000 mints. I know there'll be more than that. So yeah, the bonus tokens will be so the 10,000 tokens, if you win that, will be auto staked with a 3-month lockup, earning a reward multiplier. And then all Think tokens will be pre-staked, meaning you can unstake at any time, allowing for personal planning depending on situation. You'll earn retroactive staking rewards backdated before TGE. So probably from mint. Do you think? I would think that it would be 2 mint, right? There they are. 30% of the token supply, which 3% is initially released monthly. 75% of the release will be allocated to stakers and 25% to protocol contributors. Early adopters should have maximum influence. So 3% initially released month. The mission with 30% of the token supply. I'm trying to remember where. No, where did they put the token breakdown?
It has been an interesting way of learning about the project. They have these weekly shows that they record and put up, and then they have weekly spaces, and then they have guests. They've been showing up as guests all over the place. I've heard them speak probably 25 times, but I can't tell you where I heard them say what.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. And so it's sort of fun. All right, it looks like we have someone else joining us. Nick at Night, GM. It looks like Nick at Night needs to connect their mic and unmute. No, that is one thing that they have done a great job on, is like creating the content, just not indexing the content. And that it makes me almost want to go index it myself.
Yeah. I'll be getting my agent to do that.
Yeah. And just follow the YouTube channel. Anytime that they launch something new, you can you already get it all, the TLDR of it.
Yeah.
All right. Is your person all right, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna go to the chat because I know Jesse put it in there. There it is. All right, so community ecosystem. Gets 26%. Foundation is 40%. Team 14.5. Partners 17.5. Liquidity 2%. All right, so that equals, right? That does not equal 3,400%. So, all right, that did a bad sum. That's because I didn't put a percentage after all of it. All right. Boop. Yeah. So the piece that they're talking about is that all that's not supposed to move over here. All token supply comes. Where did that go? There it is. 30% of the total token supply. So of 1 billion, that is what, 3 million? No,
300 million.
300 million. Yeah. 300 million pushed 3% out. Yeah, 30% of the token supply. I'm going to snapshot that because, yeah, that way I can ping that to Jesse to fix if that's a total token supply. 3% is initially released monthly. So 3%.
Is that 3% of the amount that they're going to release monthly, or 3% of the total token supply?
So the way it reads, if the emission pool begins with 30% of the token supply, of which 3% is initially released monthly. So
does that mean after 10 months, all 30% is distributed?
Or if it's just always doing 3%, so whatever's left in the pool, another 3%, and then another 3%.
Yeah, right.
That's how but so then there might be one of the things that isn't in here is there might be a way for the emission pool to be refilled in a way.
I see. Yeah.
So,
define your terms, Jesse.
Yeah, come on, Jesse. Oh wait, no, we want 30%. So yeah, and so times 0.03, so that's 9 million tokens a month, or at least the first month, based on staking weight. So I would assume, right? That's a good assumption.
Yeah.
So,
and if we're thinking that's at 3 cents each.
Yeah. So times that. There's a lot of threes involved here. So that's $270,000.
Crikey.
So that's month one of 300 million.
So that leaves 291 million left.
Yeah. And so if we have 200, boop. Nope. I messed that up. Right.
Hey, Taco,
Yeah.
I can talk now. I had to put the kids
Oh,
down.
welcome.
Welcome.
I couldn't say nothing. I just saw the link pop open. I'm like, wait, I want to participate on this, but I couldn't say anything at that moment. So sorry about that.
Oh man, it is all your fault, 100% for being a good dad. Fuck, man.
They were loud, but they're out now. Didn't take them long.
Okay.
Hey,
Nice.
So I've got a question on that. That
Yeah.
3%. So, if we go in and we're part of the Genesis group, I believe that's what it's called. So is that percentage going to be based on how much we contribute? Like, can we contribute more? Like, I'm part of Futureverse too.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of Asto. Can we stake that Asto? Will that be part of that think tank?
So one of the things I heard, yes, I heard this was from Felix, that when you are converting your Asto to Think, if you stake all of it in one transaction, there's a bonus for you. That's all I heard, because it was on that last call where he was like in and out.
Yeah.
So like that, and as I was asking, me and No Credits were talking about, it seems like not a lot of people are like, the Asto price is not showing love to this in a way.
No, it's not.
And so I'm not a huge person in the Asto community. So like I love Futureverse, and I got to try out Promptopia before it launched.
Right.
And with the recent acquisition of Candy, like that's Candy Factory, like people aren't really like, you could be Superman and have the IP of Superman as an agent.
Yeah, that's crazy. You can't believe that they made that acquisition. That is just crazy.
Yeah.
I got into. I'm
So,
a big XRP. I've been in crypto since 2015, so I'm old school. Been around this
yeah,
for a long time. I just dipped in because of Dip Collector, who's huge in Futureverse.
yeah.
It's because of him that I came over. He was in a group. It's called Mickey B Fresh. He had a big group, big lot of XRP collectors in that group. And we kind of, a couple of guys split off to go to Futureverse. I didn't put that much in, but it got me to Asto, and well, it eventually led me to Think. And I did go to the ETH Denver. I don't know if you guys showed up for that, but that was meeting David McDonald and Mikey and Jesse. It was awesome to see the team. It is unbelievable.
Did you come to? So you came to Decentralized AI Day
Well, if that's what it was called in ETH Denver, yes, I was there.
at Meow Wolf?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I was. So I'm the guy. I know I look a little naked right now, but I'm the guy that has like all the badges on and the backpack with the NFTs on it.
Oh,
that
I
flashed
saw
through.
you. Now that I'm seeing you, yeah. So when I was there, I was like one of the first ones there.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. I just ended up, I was thinking, they said all these people registered, so there's going to be like a couple thousand people there, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll get there a couple hours early. And I was like the first one there. Mikey walks up and we hit it off. We were talking the whole time. He's like, man, I was like, where's this big crowd of 2,000 people? And I was only like an hour and a half. I'm thinking like a concert or something. There'd be tons of people there, and I was the first one there. I felt like a geek. I was like, golly, man, I just came here just to meet and greet, and I bought Mickey tequila and soda.
All right.
With David McDonald. So it was really cool to hang out and talk to those guys. But yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Yeah. So I just got to hang out with Mikey in LA for RenderCon.
Nice.
And that's where I got to talk with a lot of different like stakeholders and node operators.
Right.
To sort of like, so Think and our company Manifest were on the proposal for Render to partner with. So literally the community voted on Render to partner with Think and with Manifest. So they just put out a huge article on it, which was awesome.
Yeah, I did see that. Yep. That's pretty awesome.
So yeah. All right. So yeah, no, I don't understand why No Credits had the same idea. Like it seems like the Asto to Think conversion, people are just like pulling their liquidity and selling off their Asto, thinking that I don't know if they're going and they're buying more root or what they're doing with it. I haven't gone that deep on chain for it. But are you seeing it within the root community that this isn't just that they're not happy with this or they don't fully understand it?
It's a part of a bigger thing. I think it's what happened, because I'll just tell you this, people put in a lot of time and effort for this Third Kingdom game, right? I'm not gonna say I didn't put time and effort in it either, but I think, and what's happening is people invested a lot of money, and if you just look at the token from a year ago, 2 years ago, you just watch the price decline. So these people, as far as NFTs, them bunnies were probably going for like $4,000 to $10,000 to $20,000, and now you're getting them in the thousands. And then you got root that was at 5 cents, and now it's a half a cent right now. That has killed a lot of value for a lot of people, and I think they were thinking on this Third Kingdom game that they were going to get some mass earnings, and it didn't turn out that way. And I think people dumped a lot on the market, including their Asto. They're just like, we're done. I think that's what happened. A lot of people are dumping their assets and moving on. There were some people that were pretty upset. I feel it. I didn't put that much into Futureverse just because I'm not big into gaming. My son-in-law is big into artificial intelligence gaming, but it didn't work out too good for any of them. The market is tanked. So
yeah, but the market's going to come back.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Yeah.
But if you saw the amounts that these guys invested in, like Dip Collector, you probably don't know who he is, but he's a big player. He's a heavy hitter in the game, and I know when he invested, because he was in an XRP group with me and a bunch of others, and he talked about Futureverse, and he went all in. So he could have been a multi-millionaire in XRP if he would have just held on to it. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah,
Not to throw you off. Sorry about that.
No, not throwing me off. I love this sort of salt, like, because we came in. So Manifest came in with Futureverse last year, where we are going to be providing like the on-chain storage of like the assets that are being created in like Promptopia.
Nice.
You know, so
Right.
like that way everything's on-chain, sovereign, and like individuals own their items truly, not like having to worry about. And like the big piece that we're working on is providing like the inference for providing the inference eventually for as one of the options for Think, where like your Think agents are completely sovereign, not living on like AWS or Akash and stuff like that. So one of the big pieces on this is like owning your own agent, where you can own it locally on your own machine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of rig you're running, but I've been shopping GPUs and
I just bought me a new
customizing.
Apple computer. You know.
Okay.
I got the brand new
M4
M4 Pro. I got 48 gigabytes of RAM. You know, so yeah, I got the new setup. That should be able to do it. If I need, as far as I can always hook up a hard drive onto it, but got the 512 hard drive. So I think I'm ready.
I think that's going to be one of the really cool things for it. Like I can run a small model. Like I run a 4090 on my laptop. I can run a 7 billion token model. I can run the Morpheus agent locally.
Nice.
And so, but like Venice is, even though I feel the pain points of it, of not having something as fancy and shiny as ChatGPT, I like know I'm doing better with my data rather than training, more information to someone. To the black box of ChatGPT.
Without a doubt.
So yeah. Have you heard? So you've been here. Have you heard the numbers that No Credits and I have been talking so far?
I was listening to you. I had to stay silent while I was getting these guys to bed. So yeah. I'm trying to figure. I think it's a typo. Don't you think it is?
Where
because I was thinking 10 months out, we would be done, right?
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking, 10 months and we're finished, And
Yeah.
I was like, that's a huge amount to put out, because I don't know how many people are going to be part of this, token event, or I should say, for the Think AI Mint. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? What do you think the number is going to look like? They didn't do very much, advertising other than, through Futureverse, because you had a lot of Astro holders.
Yeah.
So I saw the events. I saw the ETH Denver. I'm actually probably going to go to the one that's in Austin. The Morpheus
tomorrow.
It's going to be.
I'm heading down there. I'm heading down to Austin tomorrow.
Nice. Where are you at? You out of Texas?
I am. I'm in Dallas.
I'm in San Antonio.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. So I'll be in Austin
Johnny
tomorrow.
Gonna be there too?
Who?
Johnny? Johnny's he's the guy that's actually creating the whole.
Yeah. I think is he? Maybe.
I don't think I know Jesse. I was.
People probably go.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jesse's going to be there, and I'm sure someone else is going to be there as well.
No, Jesse said he wasn't.
Jesse's not coming?
No, he's not coming. From what he said, I said then I'm going to have to meet you up in Seattle when they go up there. So
I know. Yeah, I know Mikey's not going to be there. But yeah, so I'll be there.
Nice.
I'll be in my hotel room, max minting. I'm actually pulling from my Morpheus stake to mint.
Oh wow, nice.
So,
like I have a lot of Gen 1 brains, but
yeah.
I got them fairly cheap. So, but I was thinking, you know what? I want to get some. Yeah, I'm probably going to mint quite a bit too.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, shoot, you can't beat the think tank. I want to be part of that think tank, and I want to put all my Aster when I convert it over to think into that think tank and just let it ride for a while.
Yeah. I picked up a brain for like 0.1, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you got it dirt cheap.
I bought it for like I bought like the second one that was or third one off floor.
Yeah.
Because I like the colors better.
And it didn't matter, you know, before it did matter. When you were going to game with these brains, it did matter. Or if you were going to generate flufflets, you know, little baby rabbits. Anyway, I'm not going to go into any detail. It is a game, and that was part of it. So, but
the thing that the brains had early on was this genome weight, and I spent more money on brains with better genome weight, and now I'm kind of wishing I'd just bought the floor.
You know, but we didn't know. I mean, at the time, I was trying to get over 4,000 for its genome weight. I think all the ones that I got, but when I came in, I've only been in it since May, and I started buying everything. But even then, it started going down compared to some of the people. We have a guild, the group that I'm in. We call it the guild. So these are like, you know, these guys have been in Futureverse for quite some time. So we have a thread, and we kind of go back and compare notes and gaming strategy and all that stuff. And Dip used to be part of the group, but he got his own group. He got too big for all of us. So, have you ever heard of Dip? No credits.
I've seen him, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of him, and I probably have interacted with him, but I don't know him personally.
Yeah, he probably had one of the. Do you play the game? I don't know if you guys do or not. Oh, you do. Okay. Yeah.
Not religiously. I think at Christmas I stopped trying to go as hard as I could, and I was at about 24.
Yeah.
Prestige 24, and I think the leaders were at like 38 or something like that. So I wasn't too far behind, but then it was, you know, summer holidays, the kids were on holiday, the wife was on holiday, and we just started doing other stuff. And I think I ended up.
Shoot, I think I finished off at 105 when they shut it down.
When they shut it down, I was on like 36. So 36. I didn't do much since Christmas.
Yeah, but you know what? I was thinking, you know, if we were going to put all this time and effort into it, that they were going to compensate for us and nothing. So kind of like, why did I give all that time? I had better things to do. Anyway, I retired. Crypto retired me, so I'm good. So I can attend all these events, and AI is the next vertical in my eyes. So I'm all in.
Nice.
What are you working on right now, Taco?
So what I'm doing. So what I'm seeing here, and based off of verbiage, and what I'm used to is, so they say I'm going to take this at face value.
Okay.
30% of the token supply.
Right.
And 1 billion tokens. That's 300 million tokens. So if 3% is initially released monthly, well, and see, this is one of the things where I have to then do 75% of this. So both to stakers and protocol contributors.
Right.
So protocol contributors, I would look at as people that like are using their agents, you know, using the protocol, right? So the way I see this, I'm not looking at it as like, okay, month 1 through everything, there's going to be, it's 3% streamlined out over 10 months. It's every month, it's 3% of the total supply.
But that going to, so they're going to divvy out based on the amount that you have staked, right?
Yes.
So the higher percentage, of course, the more, okay, got it.
So that if we're looking at standard staking procedure, wait. So I'm not going to, they talk of these bonuses of, you know, I'm sure like time in, and there's all of this the gamification isn't fully released yet.
Right.
But what I see here is just a breakdown of that 3%. And as that pool gets smaller, that 3% gets smaller each month as well.
Right.
What I did is I'm doing basic math for what think price could be, because there is that ASTO to think conversion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing the basic piece of that, that'll put think at roughly 3 cents a token. I did have a random math equation based off of like a lot of hopium and copium that
Right.
put it at like 87 cents or 80,
Ooh.
yeah, 87 cents.
That's a billion tokens.
Yeah. And that was just because I was doing the math of what Asto's circulating supply was versus what Think's circulating supply was going to be.
2 billion. Yeah.
So I was doing, so there's 523 million Asto in circulation. And that'll, the two questions I have here that I haven't seen anywhere is what's going to happen with that Asto when I burn it into Think, or when I convert it into Think. Does that become a large Asto pool that Think then like stakes into the vortex?
I thought they said it was burned.
Are they burning it, sending it to a dead wallet?
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
So we'll also then see like an appreciation in Asto as well.
Should be. I mean, you were thinking it would be happening now. I mean, it did increase a little bit, but it's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening. Everybody's taking earnings. I thought they were going to dump it all into. They were going to take what they were earning from converting it from mycelium to root. I thought I was going to see a lot of. They were dumping. You could see the price going down. It dipped below like 0.005. So yeah, I think it's kind of holding steady right now.
Yep. And so what we see here, I don't know. Do we want to create a random number of total mints, you guys?
I mean,
1,000 mints. You think we're going to do more?
Well, you got a lot of people that are going to do probably. Like I'm doing, I don't know how many I'm going to purchase. I'm still debating. I got some coming to me. I'll probably do like 4 or 5. So that's what I'm looking at.
I'm minting 10.
Yeah.
Because I have like work, like random. I'm gonna like release some into the wild.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some crazy stuff, I think.
Now, you know what? When you're creating, so based off of what you see, is it going to be easier to create these AI agents? Because like virtual is a pain. AI agent, it's kind of similar. And I know it's going to be different just based off of what they're saying. I'm sure you've seen the tech and what they're doing.
Yeah. So I've seen Mikey. So like the last time I saw, so me and Mikey were sitting at a table and he literally pulled out his laptop and showed it to me.
Right.
What it looked like. And he did a live demo during RenderCon where he literally gave the agent access to his like Apple controls. So it can basically read his mail, his messages, all of that stuff.
Right.
And so if you're giving like that type of control, it's giving you a TLDR for your day, And then at the same time, it could send emails on your behalf and everything like that, Like for me, it would probably be like 99% of the emails that I receive would be like, please do not email me anymore and remove me from your list. No, I do not want whatever it is your potatoes you're selling. But
I'm not going to get that kind of access. Not yet. I mean,
yeah. No, it's going to be limited. I'm going to do limited. I might you know, I'm probably going to buy a new desktop. I'm going to probably run with like I've been contemplating whether or not I want to go with like 24070s or 24090s, or just going with like one of the 5090s or 5060s. You know, I am not an Apple person. So
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my son-in-law. It's easy for me. I'm older. I'm retired. I'm older, and Apple is just easy for me. I like it simple. So when he said they were using it, I was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm good. So
yeah. So it's the tools that they have like prearranged in there. Even so, they even have like the Google stuff and the Mac and the PC build stuff already in there.
Yeah.
It was like for me when he was like, oh, this isn't pretty, but for me when like it was very clean. It was a very clean setup, and I like that. When people like, you know, when they revamp their sites and they like make it all like fancy and everything like that, I'm like, now it's annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but they want to make it very usable. And so pretty on the eyes, I guess you could, you know, for people to walk through and like click through and stuff like that. Like that's how easy it is for me to use like StreamYard, you know? So that's sort of the big thing.
Are you going to try and monetize it through X or anything to that effect?
So I might release one, like, so I have one agent on X. I don't even know if he's posted in a while. Let me go. Let me go check to see. I actually have 2 agents tied to him.
Because I'm looking at Shen. I guess Shen worked with the team. You know who he is, Shen? Yeah.
Yeah.
His agent is that he created tokens for it. He's got that thing answering questions like it's human. I mean, just look at some of the postings that comes out, updates the markets, talks about what's happening on the insights of XRP. Yeah. So, I mean, he's killing it. He's killing
nice. It. My agent right now is a good-natured, like help builders and call out bad actors. Not like I never really talk about token price. I used to do TA back in like 2019, 2020 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I used to, I would get my YouTube channels canceled because I'd run up to like, my biggest channel was like 40,000 subs.
Woo.
And because I wasn't making enough money for YouTube, I was getting that ban hammer because I never, most of the time I talk about how do you use this thing?
Yeah.
So I have this agent, Taco on Chain. And the 2 agents that I have on it, one is a creator bid agent, and the other one is via Chirper. And so Chirper's done a lot of AI agent stuff for Mode and Vana as well. Those guys, that team on Chirper, they're freaking awesome.
See, I'm trying to get mine to trade. I wanted to know everything XRPL.
Yeah.
And know the use of that automated market maker. That's what I want to do.
So one of the agents you might like for that then, because one of the things that they've talked about like with these agents is like the idea of like within like you've heard this in the Morpheus ecosystem, super agent.
Right.
One agent to talk to all of them. And so what you'll have is you'll have like, if you make your analysis agent, that agent's going to talk to a lot of different ones. The ones that I like for tokens right now are over on Theric. Theric pulls some really good data. So I feel like, is it Zertmon? Zertmon over in XRP?
Yeah. Zertmon.
Those guys, those are really, I've met the team a few times. They're pretty cool. I think they were doing some agent stuff.
Yeah, they're working. Shoot, Shed is. I was. Me and him were going back and forth. I was shooting him some messages, but he's working with the Ripple team direct to create these trade agents, and that's exactly what I'll just arbitrage. 24/7, just have that thing going. And that's what I would do. Also, too, I was looking at a real estate agent AI for the state of Texas. Matter of fact, I was talking to one of my wife's broker yesterday and getting access to all those, like
MLS.
Yeah, MLS listings, all the rules, like the go-to agent for data, especially like these, when you're a real estate agent, you can't get a hold of your broker. They're too busy,
Yeah.
And if you got something where you could just do a quick chat GPT of real estate, I wanted to do something like that here in the state of Texas and be able to, and I don't know how I'm going to do this yet, but to be able to get the updates of all the regulations, all the changes that are happening, because contracts have changed big time.
Yeah. So like one of the things you could do here, like let's say you have an agent and like you set it up specifically, we'll call it real AI state.
Yeah.
That sounds
So I was
horrible.
looking at, oh no, I think I had a real agent AI, or real what did I call it? Like real EST AI.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I had something, but
well, so what you can do is like so this is where you've heard MCP,
yep,
and you've heard A to A. So
Yep.
these are the two standards. Model communication protocol and no, it's not model. It's I forget what it stands for. But basically, what MCP is for is so that agents can interact with websites.
right.
So, like, you could feed your agent, say, check daily this website for new regulations and upload.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly.
And so basically you're making like a RAG where it is only going off of the data within those rules and regs.
Right.
And from there, like you could all like it becomes very black and white on the rule pieces for that.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, the MLS API, you can get that from, I'm sure there's a subscription cost to that API.
Oh yeah.
Because they resell it to, the
probably all
like
the like Zillow or like all the big, the big companies, Realtor.com.
Yeah, they sell that API to them so that those listings get populated out.
Right.
And so MLS probably has its own API. That API, this is where like so far agents have had a hard time integrating APIs. This MCP is meant to make that easy. So it could, as soon as MLS is updated, it could give you, you could have
real-time feeds of listings,
real-time feed of listings.
Yep.
And then you could also,
I'm looking at what I'm looking at is being able to create the contract. You know what I mean? You know how they have such a hard time creating the contract. You could put like your standard contract in there and it would sit there and populate the data that you need, right?
Yes.
That kind of easy. But again, having a disclosure at the bottom, refer to broker or whatever I need to put in their legal term to put at the bottom of each time someone goes in. But to create something like that, so
yeah. Well, you could get through like most of the door. Unfortunately, the way the system is right now is they want that bank broker in between. Someone had so someone gets their piece of always gets their piece of the pie.
Yep.
Just to stand there and watch two humans sign a piece of paper and pass it back and forth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Title companies, you literally could get rid of so many people with the future of all this. I mean, it's crazy to think, but AI is scary at the same time. If you're in it, we're in the beginning. We're on the ground floor of creating these economies for ourselves, for our, kids, Yeah.
Well, what's the phrase? If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. You're right.
Exactly. But so on the scary side of it, I only see the scary side of it of like a gun. All right. You can use a gun for hunting. You can use a gun for sport, for shooting.
Yep.
You can use it to protect people, or you can use it to do harm.
Yep.
You can also use a fork for the same exact things.
Exactly.
So I think that one of the cool things, though, is like people are building agents that are like out there scurrying the internet, tracking agents, that are doing so. Like it's going to be an interesting play long term.
Yeah.
But as far as the form filling out, one of the things that Microsoft just released was their overlay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can basically right now use the Microsoft's AI. So like it will like if you go to a form page, it will autofill that form, all of the form fill, and like, you go to a college application,
Right.
and it will fill it all out for you. So as you're seeing it real time, the scary piece of this is as we introduce crypto into it and private keys and stuff like that. That's the interesting piece into it.
Yeah. For sure.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It's AI competing with AI, and there's a backdoor for everything,
Yeah.
One AI is going to be smarter than another. And, if somebody's training it for nefarious purposes, then yeah, you just never know.
Yep.
But anyway, what are you figuring out over here? What are you thinking so far?
So right now, what we've done, we've done two different numbers. We've got we're pegging Think at 3 cents, just as a rough estimate.
Okay.
And based off of either getting a 4,000 token allocation or the basic 2,500, is you're getting either $120 worth of Think or $75 worth of Think. 10% of all the minters will get that 10,000 bonus, which is going to turn into $300.
Right.
So as of right now on ETH prices, minting is going to be $440. So you could be getting, you could get $420 worth of Think with that staking reward, so that is sort of where we see that layout.
I think I got a little over 1 million Astos. So if it converts over, it's like 300,000 Think that I'm immediately putting to the tank.
You a billion?
1 million. I got over.
Oh, 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like 280 something or 290.
Yeah, 289,000 Think.
Yeah.
So that's boop boop boop. That's roughly $8,600.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah. And that's just with standard. If we're just doing a straight 1-for-1 across, I think that Think is going to have a higher valuation, but look at this as like the VC price, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Versus public. So, and if you're getting that 3% distributed, so month one, I'll call that what it is. That's $200,000 worth of Think being distributed to stakers, because they said 75% of of the release is allocated to stakers, 25% to protocol contributors. So that's where I'm getting this number here. So off that first distribution of 300,000 or 300 million, that 3% is 9 million. Now, if we keep subtracting the 9 million from the emission pool or 3%, it obviously it goes down lower and lower and lower. But that's sort of where I'm getting this piece out here. So that's, you know, even in, you know, if you know, 202, 500. So even if we divide that by 1,000 stakers, you know, and that's lowballing it, everyone's going to get $202 in that first month.
Yeah.
You know, that is the idea of that. And so in that first 3 months, you would earn maybe about $600.
Right.
That pays for the agent. You know, month 2 is TGE. So that's when you find out if you win that bonus as well.
Right.
So, you know, at month 2, that is when we see the TGE happen. And that's when we'll start to see that, you know, that fluctuation in price. It's spiking, it going down, you know. But also we're going to see a liquidity squeeze. So, because when the token goes live, when TGE happens, people are going to be minting out their, you know, or claiming their supply from their agent,
right,
and putting it up for, you know, on liquidity, or putting it up on, you know, and then there's going to be people that learn about this over the next month that are like, I need this token, fat finger buy that. So, like that's how we saw Venice skyrocket to
I saw that price. Now it's what, under 2 or right at 2?
Yeah, right around there, I think. Yeah. That is, yeah.
But look at the supply too. I mean, the supply is what, a couple 100 million?
Yeah, and they also burned. But FDV is down a little bit, but yeah, that's more. I see that more with ETH prices, with them paired to ETH.
Yep.
Because a month ago, FDV was at like 280. And even though token price was down to like $4, $3 at the time, FDV was over the 250 that they started with. Venice is just another one of those ones that like I claim and I stake and restake and claim, you know?
Yeah.
I just grinding that pool out because I use Venice like crazy as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that's where we're getting our inference through.
So that's one of the places. So you'll be actually being able to choose between the open source models.
Yeah.
And so within Venice, they have the different models. DeepSeek that's been stripped of the CCP stuff.
Yeah.
They, you know, so Mistral now, Llama, DeepSeek. One of them is being Dolphin. Yeah. Llama 4.0, I think, is coming soon, because I remember seeing Eric post a question about what configurations people were using for an H100 running Llama 4.0, which, so I that one's coming up. And so that by using Venice, you'll have access to all of the different models they have. But then there's also the other models that we see like Akash using, which is they have different image generators like Remix. But then one of the cool things that I think is going to come through this also in the generation side will be render as well.
Because render's using the agents, right?
Render's going to be using the agents for their new AI stuff that they're adding on.
Okay.
So like, this is one of the things I didn't know about render. Like I did not know how deep render was being used in Hollywood.
I didn't either until that Eat Denver. But I didn't even know all the things until just as of late, on top of what they talked about. I guess I just didn't see it, right?
Yeah.
This is all new for me, so I'm listening to them, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but then a lot of information comes out.
No one says like, oh, yeah, T-Mobile helped make this, call successful. Like, no one talks about that. But like I got to meet Spock's Leonard Nimoy's son.
Right. I know, right? That's pretty.
So like we were just at RenderCon. They made a new Star Trek short. And so they made a new Star Trek short where Captain Kirk got to say goodbye to Spock.
It's so good.
It is awesome.
It's the storytelling that Hollywood is missing at the moment.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, it's all.
But so Sam was talking about, and Nimoy were talking about the rendering for the CGI for their faces was being done live.
Wow.
So like they're looking at each other, but on the monitor, it's Spock and Kirk's face.
Crazy.
Jules was showing off. So Jules Orbach was showing off how they were doing overlays of different people's faces and stuff like that. And like, so they were showing how they were doing the penguin scars and stuff. And like, even like opening his mouth and like showing off gold teeth,
Wow.
It was, how deep render is being used. And I got to meet, there was this really cool guy, Chris, that I got to interview. He uses like render. He gets CAD files of clubs, and then he uses render to do all of the physics for lights, for laser, like designing the lights in laser shows that he can then sell back to the club. Like, hey, you hire our light company. This is what we can do.
It's unbelievable how much tech is involved in that.
Yeah, he was showing me. I was like, oh, I feel like I know that club. And he's like, yeah, that is Tao in Vegas. And I was like, is this a real thing? He's like, no, this is all AI, like not AI, but rendered. This is all in render.
Did not know that. Wow, that's news for me. Jeez.
He's
I've
like,
been in there many a times.
We designed the lights for Tao. They just designed the lights for Coachella. So like the lighting shows for like these concerts, that's all being done on render.
Wow.
But now that they're doing more AI generation, they need more compute, like dedicated compute. And that's where Gember, one of our sub companies within Manifest, and that's where Manifest is going to be providing the compute power for that. While Think is going to be providing those agents that these creators are going to be using to like design these new things.
Jeez.
Like we're thinking, oh cool, we're going to go play in a metaverse with our monkeys, and people are like using this shit to like make the next $300 million George Lucas film.
Right.
Well, actually, a lot of the appeal to me about this is not only the think tank and having my own agent and being able to get it to do whatever I think of a business idea, but it's also having exposure to the Think network and everything they're doing outside of that. Because Jesse alluded the other day to the fact that, any partners they mention in the future as coming on board, we get exposure to that as being, in the think tank as well as staking.
They did say something about earning tokens from other companies, right? Like,
Yep.
so we'll be earning value from other companies that are be utilizing the Think agents. However, that's going to work. I don't know how all that's going to work, but
okay, so like in the Morpheus ecosystem, you have like the more subnets. So this one is an easy one for me. This comes into play for agent to agent talking. So like, let's say, Nick at Night, you make real estate AI, and someone else's super agent that they made on some other platform. Okay. Their token for payment is air duster, because I'm literally looking at an air duster can. So duster. All right. And duster has value. So their agent pays your agent in duster to get some, like, what's the local houses near me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's one of the ways you value accrual, by creating agents that, are providing services to other agents. And that's where the NFI, that non-fungible intelligence, where as you're growing your agent's knowledge base, your agent gets smarter over time, but then it earns weight. Like, how true is that? Your real estate agent always has the most up-to-date prices. So I'll come to you first,
Right. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the jump on that.
So like the social graph of truth through agents, and we see that also being built out in NFA with Scott in the Morpheus ecosystem and the non-fungible agents, where traits, because like how many token sentiment agents do we need?
Right.
Well, if we your agent, you make an agent that is specific to only searching the web only for anything XRP.
Yeah.
Do I want to go to the agent that scrapes the internet for 3 seconds to tell me what the latest trend is on Twitter, or the agent, and that agent searches everything, so it might not hit it might not get to all the nooks and crannies, whereas in your agent is only searching for things related to XRP. So in that 3 seconds, and I use that as a very small time frame, only looking at that window becomes an expert on. So
because I'm using Sheds right now, and it ain't that great. I'll be honest with you. It's not that great. My son-in-law uses virtuals, and everything's at a cost,
Yeah.
Especially on virtuals. It's pricey. And then you got to pay the fees with X, for that presence,
Yep.
And he's putting out some money on that. Definitely. And that's kind of similar to what you're going to be doing here, right? I mean, if you're going to create economy, you got to create a presence somewhere where people are going to access you. I mean, X is probably one of the best platforms, unless you can set something up like a chat GPT of whatever real estate or, XRP, but you still got to have a presence somewhere.
So your agent can have a presence. And that's where your agent can have a presence within the Thinkverse or Think Tank.
Oh, that's right.
Your agent can have a presence within the Morpheus ecosystem.
Right.
And even Hugging Face. Because that's where a lot of Morpheus is a monetizable version of Hugging Face. So your agent will be able to live wherever you go and put it.
Right.
So it's Twitter is just one of its sources of information and one of its ways of output.
Right.
So yeah, because it's not going to get housing prices on Twitter
because they're creating the marketplace, right? And it's agents will seek out the ones that's got the data, the most data that they can get from one place, I guess you could say. So, okay, I get it. So I guess timing is everything too in this market.
Yes. First mover advantage
Yep.
/ like also coming off of, and someone smarter than me was listening to something the other day where like the agents that are being used in crypto are like 6 to 12 months behind the rest of the world's agents,
Right.
And that's because we're having to work how to like do this stuff on chain rather than just like black box own someone else's data type of thing.
Right.
We're trying to build the house right, so it's a little bit slower.
Right.
And I think that that's sort of a good way to see it, So like these agents are going to be upgradable, So yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see the future here in about next, probably the next year.
yeah. It's good. Well, like what we're doing in a year is literally, all of this. I will just, I'll be talking into a microphone, and it will be like, it will make a tokenomic spreadsheet gameplay and be like, this is based off the information, 96% probability of happening, and this is what it would look like, and then it would make a graph.
So when you get done, could you copy paste that Excel spreadsheet you got, put it into ChatGPT, and it kind of spit out probabilities or what you're looking for to see, how are my numbers? And
yeah, I wouldn't put it into ChatGPT. I could put it into Venice.
Oh yeah, Venice. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So it might not be as clean of an answer as if I did put it into ChatGPT, but it could be based off of this. I could give it based off of this information and a variable of 1,000 mints. What is the play to action here? And so this is one of those things where I see like two major dominoes here. One, having your Asto and burning it for Think and doing a full port stake.
Oh, I'm doing it right away. That day one, I'll be done. It'll be meant.
Yeah.
Or it'll be
and so I think that conversion isn't going to change, because one of the gamification pieces that I was thinking at, but then I was wrong, or this is sticking on. Well, it's divided by the total supply of Asto. So the total supply of Asto will decrease.
Right.
So is the math
2 billion
better?
to 1 billion. It's a little over 2 billion. Yeah.
So will you earn more Think or less Think over time? Like if I burn my Asto after you, does this number here change, or does this number stay the same?
It's just a straight conversion rate based on the amount that you have.
Yeah.
It shouldn't change at all within that 6 months time frame that we have to convert it over.
Yeah. So, but that's it's one divided by the total supply of Asto. So if the supply of Asto reduces,
right,
does the formula change? Is it a variable or is it static?
That's right, a question. It's static. It's a stat. What they did was they allotted Aaron McDonald or Futureverse this amount based on all the token holders, and this is what the conversion rate, and it's just based on what you own. This is what you're going to get back. That's it.
Yeah, because there's 29% of the token supply is circulating.
Okay.
Versus
so the rest of it, I know they're going to burn a bunch. I think Aaron was saying something that they were going to burn quite a bit from their own holdings, but they wanted to give back to the people that vested with, the Asto team. So
And I know Lenny from the Asto team moved over to Think as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. And David, is he gonna? Yeah, yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
what's David gonna do?
I'm not sure. Might stay with like in the prompt side of things. Because what they're going to be changing like the way that you use the entire Futureverse system into using Think instead.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be wanting to use like IP from their new candy stuff, you might be paying for that in Think.
Right.
I've seen this happen like a couple different times where we've seen protocols sort of merge, and usually like there's like it's a static number where both protocols tokens are being burned at a conversion rate, and then a new token is created. In this one, because Think is hasn't been generated yet, they don't have to make a third token. It can just all burn into Think.
Right.
So one, I'm sitting happy with my Asto. I think I have Asto ETH and Root ETH pools. I think those I'm gonna be happy with those for a while, and then I'll pull those probably at like month 2, and burn all of that Asto into Think.
Right.
But I feel like as like the first 2 months, that's when a lot of people are gonna realize what's going on, and so I'll be generating fees on that. There is a degen part of me that wants to also make a Think Asto liquidity pool.
You should.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not a doubt.
Because then people, what they'll do is they'll use their Asto to buy, or they'll use their Think to buy more Asto, which will then they'll burn that Asto for more Think, and then they'll sell that Think for more Asto until that pool itself balances out. And arbitrage on that.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
So
you got it.
Yeah. The one did you guys is Think's gonna be on mainnet, right? Or is it gonna be on Arbitrum?
I heard, okay. So Mikey isn't one of those people that can hold a secret.
Yeah.
He said Arbitrum, but then I saw them say Alchemy. So
Alchemy is inference on the back end.
Inference only. Okay, got it. Okay.
So Alchemy provides a lot of chain support. So like Alchemy isn't a chain. I think who random. This is totally random. You know who has their own blockchain and has had it for like 4+ years? FICO. FICO credit score.
Wow.
Yeah. They do like their own. They have their own private blockchain. Random thing. Sorry.
I did not know that. Wow. That's interesting. That just tells you where we're going.
Right. They've been using it for their voting governance on changes to their FICO score formula.
Yeah.
So I learned that when I was with the FICO team.
You just look at what Ripple's doing, right? I mean, for 10 years, they've been going all over the world getting licensing within those countries. It was almost like it was set up,
yeah.
I mean, like I remember that night when they got sued. I had I think about 250,000 XRP. It was at like almost 800,000. And then all of a sudden, they said they got a lawsuit. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. As soon as they called it, I called everybody. I'm like, man, I'm converted to Bitcoin. I converted everything to Bitcoin because I knew it was going to price dump. And it did. I think I did it like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning after the announcement happened.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of buddies that didn't do it. And it just tanked. And I just let it sit there because it was like at $1.80, I think, at the time. Can't remember what it was, but anyway, Yeah.
You know who was a cool person I had on the show like 2 years ago, almost, or over a year and a half ago? John Deaton.
Yeah, isn't he something? Such a cool dude.
John is awesome. So like I met him at a Masari mainnet, and I was like, hey, you want to come on the show? And so like he was like, yeah, I'll come on for a little bit. So he's supposed to be on for like 30 minutes, and then next thing you know, me and him are like shooting the shit for like 2 hours. You know, it was before Food Stamp Warrior had just come out and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. He's an awesome guy.
He is. You know, he's a Marine too. So yeah.
Yeah. Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Yeah. All right. Back to numbers. Spreadsheet.
Let's do it.
Quantify this. So this is what I have right here for the dollar amounts. This is 75% of just the first 4 months. Disbursement to stakers. And that's so it says 75% will release to stakers. So that first month is only people that have a you know, that's $202,000 roughly. Month 2 is when we have that TGE happen.
Right. So
196, and that's when more people will then be able to buy and then stake. So that's when this will get diluted. That like we're thinking like at 1,000 people. So
you're looking at how many tokens, how much we're going to be getting generated per. So you think that you're looking at 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
1,000.
You know, if you have 1,000 mints, that's that, and everyone's fully stakes. Well, you know, that's $202.
Yeah.
For that first month.
Right.
Month 2 disbursement, you know, will be. So if we think a month from now, we have TGE. So May 23rd, we have TGE. That's when that first disbursement will happen.
Yeah.
You know, so then we'll see dilution for that second month payout, right. You know, but if you're using the protocol, I think there's going to be like a max weight type of thing. So like someone can't just like sit there and like put on a, you know, mouse jiggler and have it click on things using the protocol. And then, right. You know, they have, you know, so if you're using the protocol, building your agent, you know, you'll max earn, you know, that weight. But
I am trying to put as much information into my Think AI as I can possibly, you know, and I'm gonna do it from because I mean we don't have. Well, I kind of know how I did it with since I've been using AI agents and virtuals. So like the data can come from white papers, comes from the internet sites. I guess they got to be the same. I mean, it's got to be similar to click and drop and putting in. I mean, I can't see it being any different. Well, you do this. I mean, that's you got your own AI agent, internet sites for Manifest.
Yeah.
So
I missed that. That's that as Poto joined us. I missed that last thing that you were saying, Nick.
As far as that it should be the same as far as building, you know, these AI agents like from virtuals to AI gent with Shens. It's similar, right?
Yeah, well, you'll be able to most like the way I had heard Mikey talk about it when he's like you can drag and drop files. So not only can you drag and drop files, you can feed it URLs, and you can also feed it API keys. So like if you get LexisNexis API key,
right?
You have law AI, you know? So yeah.
So if you did the API, you don't have to set up prompts, right? Like virtual, you got to set up a lot of prompts, right, for it to do certain things.
You might have to. So you'll be like, if they're asking a law question, pull from this data source.
Oh, gotcha.
You might have to do something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Just giving it the basic command. You know, or you can be based off of the question, reason what it is they're searching for. And this might be hard baked into it as well, you know, based off of the information you have or have access to, what's the answer?
Right.
That's probably going to be like, so that's one of the cool, like, you'll be able to use all of those different agents that you can have, as you'll have access to as well. Obviously not like frontier models, but anything you can pull an API key as well. Wow. So if you can pull your API key from Venice, and you can put that in there. And so it just queries Venice, and, you know, then you have, you know, everything from DeepSeek to Dolphin, you know, which is web enabled as well. And soon Mistral's the latest one, and soon you'll most likely have Llama 4.0. But POTA, GM. Are you there, POTA?
I'll be good putting kids to bed.
Yeah. Everyone being responsible dads or parents. Sheesh. Being good humans.
Sorry, Taco, I had lost my reception there for a second.
Oh, POTA is not a dad.
No, happy Easter Monday to you. How are you?
Good. Happy Easter Monday to you as well. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm great. Thank you. Super excited about the mint. Just like everyone else, trying to absorb all the information. But yeah, we're from the FV side. But yeah, super excited about what's coming.
Yeah. Have you been following along with our number pieces so far? And where do you think my math is off?
Yeah, on mobile. Look, I still think there's a lot of unknowns. I think there's a lot to figure out. I do think there will be absolutely an advantage in minting first edition agent, even for those of us that are quite heavily stacked with brains and also Asto. What I think has been sort of the question mark up to this point is whether or not there's benefit in minting multiple agents in the first 24 hours, whether that would give you an advantage in the think tank. But Jesse just has responded in the Souls chat to say that we are able to add tokens later. So I think as long as you have your foot in the door with that first edition agent, you will be able to add tokens, add extra tokens to stake to the think tank at a later date.
Yeah. I think that's going to be one of the really cool things there. So I read this and I wasn't sure. I felt like that there was going to be like the brains agent. So the mint is only 24 hours. So, you know, it's an open edition mint. So however many mints in 24 hours is it. So those first gen, it will be different from the brain agents, not necessarily being Genesis, from what I read, unless you guys have seen that different.
Yeah, look, my understanding is it'll be the same agent. I'm from my understanding that the second gen will be the same agents with the same capabilities. They just won't have the access to the think tank and wouldn't have the basic NFI. That's my understanding, but otherwise, I think one of the things I absolutely loved, I think, in that last Spaces with Jesse is how he talked about, I loved how he talked about not pushing yourself financially for this first edition is meant if it's out, if it's out of depth for you, because the important thing for them is that everyone has access to decentralized AI, that the next generation of agents, the second generation of agents that can be minted, which I'm assuming will just be an ongoing open mint, would be, around $50 for an agent without tokens. I think that's an important thing to outline is this mint coming up is the only opportunity for you to mint an agent with tokens attached.
Yeah.
That's the only opportunity to do that. And I think us, those of us in the FV community are, coming at it from a slightly different angle because we're also getting tokens through the Asto conversion. But for the general public outside of FV, this really is your only opportunity to pick up some tokens, with your mint before the TGE. So I think, my personal would be, I think everyone should try and should get one. So for me personally, I have a business as well. I'm going to be minting two, one for myself and one for my business. But after sort of having a bit of a chat with Felix and Discord, I've decided I will then wait until the second generation mint to mint one for both of my kids.
Yeah. Nice.
But my understanding is the capabilities, going back to that original question, the capabilities of the agent will be exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense because they want to give agents away to schools. They want to, they have big plans. There's not going to be a limit on what the agents can do, nor the number of them. But he did say that for us to get access to exposure from other partners and all the rest of it, that was only for the Genesis minters. So, you get the think tank, you get early staking, rewards, which you've alluded to the fact that it may sort of drop over time, in which case you want to be in earlier to get the most out of it. But also you get this kind of access to sharing in the successes of the Think Agent protocol as a whole, simply by being in that early group.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
Hey, Poda, nice to hear from you.
Yeah, you too. No credits. You too. We're excited. When's your mint planned?
Our mint is reliant on TRN Labs putting us through their grant process, and literally nothing's happened since they announced that back in January. So we're frustratingly sitting on our hands waiting for advice as to whether or not we're going to get accepted into their initial grant program, because if we are, then it's all go, but if we're not, then we have to figure out a way of incorporating swappables and wearables and all that ourselves.
Which is huge. Yeah. Okay.
Look,
we're all here. We're here ready to support and excited. The artwork looks insane. So yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, we are ready.
Wait, there's something else I have to mint soon? Tell me more.
Everyone loves dinosaurs.
Yeah, everyone loves dinosaurs. We're resurrecting a project that collapsed at the end of the last cycle. It was a T-Rex human hybrid thing, and they did a terrible job of it. And so we're trying to start again from the beginning. The idea being that you can build a character and build your wardrobe of wearables and collectibles and holdables and stuff, and then jump from experience to experience using the UBF technology, so that you can be in the Readiverse or playing open, or when they announce a partnership with Fortnite, you can go and play in Fortnite, whatever, like who knows what the future holds.
Yeah.
But the idea that you are that character going through the metaverse rather than, the idea of playing every game as a new character.
Yeah. Nice. So I could be a dinosaur
Yes, sir.
with my think agent attached to it. So my dinosaur just goes around and like eats.
Yeah. They Jesse and Mikey have loved what we've been doing since they first saw it, and they every so often reference it as either the tribe called Rex or the Rex. So if you've heard them talk about that as an example, hey, you could be your Rex. That's what he's
Okay.
talking about. The idea that you own this character and you can actually program it to be who you interact with when you interact with your think agent.
All right. Nice.
Now, I was mobile earlier, but I did hear some chat around Mac, and I'm actually I've actually been currently looking at my specs because obviously I'd have to host 2 agents, and I'm just sort of tossing up at the moment between a studio and a MacBook Pro Max, just because I tend to be a bit mobile. And what were you guys saying that you were currently using?
So I'm currently using a Lenovo i7 with a 4090, and so I have no problem with the 7 billion token model, like the Morpheus token model. So basic agent that I had no problem with that. And because I'm mobile all the time, like I might do a virtual setup and host my agent within like Morpheus or Venice, which would then host it on like either Manifest or Kosh.
Okay.
And so there's that. You can run the Nick at Night is running. He just picked up the new MacBook M4, which has the Pro.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
I did increase the 24 to 48 because Johnny, was it Clems, was saying 32 is what he said minimum, I think is what he was saying. So I increased the RAM.
Yeah,
32 minimum.
I had a bit of a chat with him. I think he was sort of suggesting 64 would be the way to go.
Yeah. So desktop, I'm contemplating doing a build with like 24070s or the 5060, but going with like 96 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
And so the thing that you, if looking at that is, are you using, will you be using both of them at the same time type of thing? And so
I'd like to self-custody on my own machine, but I think that will just depend on, I guess, what the limitations are. I'm just a bit concerned, I think, about purchasing something and undercooking it. So, yeah.
No, I 100%. And I'm one of those people that like to customize things to the sky. So I was doing like a shopping experience on Exotic PC, and somehow I built a $24,000 computer.
But did you buy?
Oh, no, I did not.
They didn't offer it to you in ETH.
I copied the link to it and sent it to my CFO, and I was like, "Can I bill this?" And,
I hope he said yes.
No, he's very he scratched it. He gave me a scratch the head response, like, "What for?" Like, and I was like, "Oh, test things." So no, it was a no. But
so take it out of your bonus.
Yes, out of your bonus. So was the consensus then that the MacBook Pro for Macs was going to be sufficient? Whoever's just purchased that, are they happy with it?
That's what he said. I have, until it comes out and I'm actually in use. He said that would work. So
Okay. I have to say, I do love that they're all Mikey, John, Jesse, they're all on Mac.
Yep.
So I've got an original Studio. And I think I didn't buy the base model, but I didn't go all the way. It's got like 10 cores or 12 cores or whatever it was. Is that sort of thing going to work, or do I need to upgrade the RAM? Or
What's the unified memory on it?
I actually don't remember. It's that long ago since I bought it.
So it's probably an M2 maybe?
Yeah, I think it is M2.
Video, yeah. Look, I would suggest that there would be enough on there. Yeah, so I think ideally, unified, I think 64, but I think if 48, if you could do, I think either 48 or 64.
Right, okay. I'll have to go turn it on and remind myself what it's made of.
But yeah, the new studios are incredible. I did a demo on one yesterday. It was next level, but I'm not a stagnant person. I don't sort of stay in one spot. So I just really want that flexibility of a laptop.
That's exactly why I got it.
So the M4 Max, I don't know if they have it in so the 14-inch Max is out at 36 gigs. The 16 Max is out at 48 gigs. Obviously, you can do aftermarket. I think with some places you might be able to do aftermarket upgrades.
No. If you click select, you can go all the way up to 128 of unified on that. Yeah.
I can.
Just
okay.
Just that one, because the one I've got in my cart.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Boop. See, this is how I.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now it's $7,100, $7,200 for this laptop.
Yeah.
Whew. Not happening.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all I can. That's the only. Those are the. Sure, let's do a nano texture display. Because why not? Yeah.
What did I choose? Nano screen. I upgraded to 64. I did 2 terabytes of storage, I think, and so hang on a second. Are you in Australian dollars there? That's weird.
That's American. That's American dollars.
Get out. That can't be right. It's the same here in Australian.
Well, that's with the 8 terabyte.
Oh, you've chosen the 8 terabyte. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you're gonna make your wish list,
you should not be allowed to go shopping.
Yeah. If you're gonna make a wish list, I don't hold on a second. Let me find. I will show you this random machine. Let's see. I might have deleted that. Oh no, computer needs. There it is. Some components no longer exist. Okay. So yeah, this is a $21,000 computer.
Whoa.
2 8 terabyte secondary storage, solid states, and another 16 terabytes for operating system storage. 48, 96, 182 gigs of RAM. I felt that this is what I could use.
It's nice.
So, yeah.
And your boss said?
My CFO said no. He said no, pretty much.
And you said, Tom, we need to stay relevant.
Yeah. I was like, but no. So maybe next year, this is what I'll buy myself next year, or I'll do one of those $1 to $21,000 challenges. Great,
Good idea.
I'll have my agent go that deep with it. Trade myself from a paperclip to that.
Hey, Taco, why don't you try and get Mikey on?
Oh, where is Mikey?
He's chatting in X, so he's probably available.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get him. At Jesse.
Or
Wrong,
Jesse.
Jesse.
Either or.
Jesse at Mikey. Join us. We have some grammar. We have some grammar issues. Because if it's total token supply, 30% of total supply, or what? All right, there. Well, Jesse last posted an hour ago. I don't know. We'll see if is Mikey even in the Souls chat? I think he is. All right.
What time would it be in Seattle?
11:09 p.m.
Okay.
Because it is 1:10 here. But yeah.
So each one of those is we get our own art. So if I minted all three of them at once, right? So I'm buy 3 or 4. I minted them all at once. Each one of those is going to get that art allocation, up to 5,000. Well, it won't be 5,000, but as far as think tokens, each one of those will get that, right?
Yeah. So like if you have addition, if you mint your mint ID is 500.
Yeah.
Subtract 499 from 5,000, and that's how much you'll get.
Gotcha.
So if you get IDs number 500 through 504, just subtract 1, because 1 is obviously you get 5,000, and go from there. And so that's where we have the allocation piece at being, an average either 4,000, which is $120, or I look at so after 2,500, everyone gets 2,500. So the two pieces on that is either $120 to $75.
That art piece could be. Did you go into some of the things that they talked about? Like they bought the art pieces back, and at one time they bought, I can't remember what collection it was, but they gave 2 ETH to buy your collection back. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but so this is the thing. That art is now tied to your agent, which is your soul. Do you sell your soul?
Oh, so it'll always be tied to that? I thought it was just to get you in. It was like a okay, all right.
No, it's the art. It's a basic NFI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is exciting. I mean, have you seen how much his art goes for? I think that's really the unknown piece that a lot of people I think are missing. Is I think that could be really sick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm just not sure I love kids enough to give them the sick artwork NFI. That's all.
So if you
No,
wanna, if
not
you're
at all.
looking
I thought it would separate at one point. I didn't know it was just. I thought it was an axis point. You had to have the art piece at one point, and then if you listen to their site, I didn't get into their Discord, but it talked about at one point that they like to buy their art pieces back. So if it's tied to your soul, well, of course, I'm not going to get rid of my soul. So
yeah, and that's with like previous collections that they've done.
right.
This is where, you know, where the basic one is. That is, everyone's getting basically the same thing. This.
Well, this is where I think it's sort of open to debate, because I either read or heard somewhere, and again, I'm in so many Discords and I've listened to so many spaces, it's very hard to isolate when and where you hear stuff. But I'm sure I read that each piece of art is slightly different.
I heard that too.
I would see that. I could, you know, so trait wise or where it is generatively, sort of like, you know, the ASM brains, the color pattern pieces.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if it's this running video the entire time, or if it's different, you know, as you're seeing different variations, you know, like something like that versus the next cycle they go through, that being a different one. I don't necessarily know if it's generative. I haven't seen anything saying it's generative art, meaning the art changes. Sort of like do you guys remember the Xerion NFTs that sort of changed based on how much your wallet traded or what tokens and how you interacted with DeFi? So there's that possibility, but I haven't seen anything that shows that it's a generative NFT, that it changes over time.
And I think that's what is a little bit, that's what I find, I think, quite interesting about this mint, is I still think there's a few sort of unknowns that I think later we might look back and get, damn, I wish I'd have picked up more. But I just think there's that, you know, there's just that something there. It's not completely laid out 100%.
Yeah,
exactly what we're getting. I think there's a little bit there. And you know what? I think that's okay. I think sometimes a little bit of mystery. I know we like to know everything about everything before we sort of jump in, but I think there is still a little bit of element of mystery here.
I think that, and that's what I like with this, you know? So, well, and it's not necessarily mystery. It's like, you're an individual. You get to build this how you want.
Exactly.
Think for yourself. So the rules, the initial rules will be the same at the start. You know, everyone's starting from the same spot, but how you choose to your journey, you know, how you choose to educate your agent, you know, it could be different. Like, let's say we had two books, the Bible and the Art of War. If you feed your agent the Bible first and then the Art of War, and then I feed my agent the Art of War and then the Bible, technically you would have two different models, you know? And so even though it has the same data, it could put weight on what it thinks you find important.
Has that been tested to show the results that you're talking about? Does
in
it
different
weight one
models
over the other?
Well, in different models, we've seen that happen. Yeah, in training, and that's where they've had to put where they've done weights to information. So that's where they came up with one of the whole systems within frontier models for training. You know, from ChatGPT, and that's part of the transformer piece of things. Weight on information of where the source is, but then also based off of the history of what its interactions with you are, and then it has been programmed to what it has been programmed to how to respond to you. So, that way I'm not asking it about, the price of tea in China, and then it starts quoting me Bible quotes about tea, because it's reasoned that is not the information that I'm aiming towards. I'm wanting to know how much the price of tea in China is, rather than what it thinks I want to hear or what it wants to give me. So, yeah.
Well, Taco,
So it's only the Genesis mint that gets the art, correct? So if you get an agent later down the track, you don't get the art.
Correct.
Correct.
And there's a claim in June for the actual Think agents itself.
So you'll be able, so the ASM agents will be able to mint Think agents at the same time as the agent client launch in June. Those mints will be fully subsidized by Futureverse. One free mint per brain.
So it could be that the art is separate. Because if we're using what we get in a couple of days to get our agent to claim for our agent in June, they may be two separate things.
Yeah.
But but is the NFI palette separate? I didn't think that was separate to the agent. But this is where I get confused. So which part, sort of body, mind, soul, which part is the NFI palette? Which bit does that link to?
So this is the NFI is the NFT. So it's held with the NFT is the representation of it. So this one, so as they're explaining it here, NFTs represent fixed assets like art or metadata. NFIs embed logic, memory, and user data, enabling personalized. So as I was talking earlier, like about dynamic NFTs, this is just a fancier version of that. So an NFT that changes over time based off of the logic that's put into it, the memory and user data.
But specifically, they did say it would be a basic NFI, not a basic piece of art. So therefore, I don't think the NFI can be separated out from that specific agent.
Right. True.
Is how I read that.
Yes. And that
also be your claim as a Genesis, right? That you're part of the Genesis AI, right? To earn those or be part of the token tank.
Yeah, so
think tank, excuse me. Think tank.
Exactly. So I don't think it's a case of you end up with exactly the same agent as the general mint in June with a separate piece of art. That's not how I've read that at all. Yeah. Because I'm sure I also heard Felix discuss potentially minting multiples and there being a high demand for first edition agents on secondary. And again, that would not be the case if they were going to be exactly the same as a $50 agent in June.
But isn't that because of the think tank and stuff like that rather than the agent itself?
So one of the things that I heard that I thought I heard was that with the first gen Think agent is that it's going to be composable between all of the other protocols that are already partnered or that come up. So your agent will be your agent will be your agent will be your agent everywhere. This, just like Jesse was saying, was like, don't break the bank on this. Like in 3 months' time, you can buy one for $50. The idea is everyone having an agent, like you said. Now the question is, will that agent be as universal as a Genesis, meaning you can use it everywhere, or will it be like, all right, I can only use this in limited areas. I need another agent. If I go over into this metaverse, I need another agent, but that agent will then talk to my other agent. And, so do I have to like buy more agents that way,
Look,
Um,
I think it was very, very clear that the capabilities of the agent will be exactly the same.
yeah.
It will be exactly the same. I don't think they'd want to gatekeep it like that. I think it's about mass adoption.
I agree with you.
Yeah, from hearing to them speak, which is one of the reasons I think I'm just so excited about this team, is apart from the fact that what a bunch of incredible humans every time I hear them speak. And it's funny, I was trying to explain the team to my husband today, who's not in this space at all. And I was trying to explain, and we were talking, he was asking about how the agents would benefit the kids. And then I was talking about, tutors, and my son's now at uni, but my daughter's about to go through her HSC. And I was explaining that, how focused things are on education, because Mikey and Johnny were both homeschooled. And we also talked about the fact that that's probably why they're also such great people, that they haven't, because navigating high school, people are just assholes. And, the issues we've had with our kids in high school with other kids. And I was saying, I wonder if that's why they just seem like the most loveliest people. They just seem so genuinely lovely. And I just think it's their greater vision for what they want to do. I mean, look, all of us, I've got a business, we're all here, we all want success and, all of those things, and we want to be comfortable and we want to provide for our families. But I just feel like their vision is beyond, how much money they can make out of this. It feels different. So I think for them to limit the capabilities of future agents, I just don't think would even come into their mindset. I think it's about getting out everything they can to as many people as possible and making it as accessible as possible.
I think all of them have made their money already. I don't think it's even about the money at this point.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to that, I don't think there will be any limitations on the capabilities of the second agents. I just think it will be, I think wrapping that artwork into that first agent and then giving it sort of that access to the think tank. I just think it's just an extra level they've sort of put on top.
Yeah. And so as we see, I agree with you on that. One of the really, like Jesse was down in Austin, talking to schools. There's been a couple other projects that are wanting to get agents into the hands of kids so that they have their own agent rather than a centralized. So like, I got to, I agree with you. And it's there's an important piece there, even just giving a kid access to an agent via like a tablet, ChatGPT, Ahmad, I got to talk with Ahmad at RenderCon, what they're doing. And he's like, what we've seen is 3 months with an agent, a kid advances 2 years in education. And
extraordinary. And look, they're all using ChatGPT at school. They have for a while. My son did his major exams, 2 years ago, and all of his assignments, everything is sort of fed through algorithms to, catch people cheating. So the crazy thing is all the kids, they're already using all of these centralized AI platforms. So I think the sooner we can get in there at ground roots, I think the better.
Yep.
Because kids don't understand. They don't see the big deal about it. They don't have any issues with sharing their data. It's not a big deal to them. They just don't think about it the same way that we do.
No, and because the way I've sort of talked about this before is how much data we share between apps on our phones for ease of use. Like when you download a new app, like the first thing it asks you, to confirm, can I have access to your phone or your text messages so I can read a security code? Well, then when you say yes to that, it has access to all of your messages. It has access to your phone log, and we do this and we just sort of, using Google login for everything, all of these things that sort of, working to make us a product, and sell us the next thing. It's sort of crazy. People are putting out these like life hack prompts for like ChatGPT, where it's just sort of scary. Like they think that this is like mind opening, like, oh, this is going to tell you who you are. Yeah, that's also really scary that you never told it this information, but it pulled that data. So
yeah, I think Jesse mentioned this week, he said, go into ChatGPT and ask it what it knows about you.
yeah.
Like, I hadn't even thought about that. And he said, you'll just be absolutely blown away by what it already knows about you. Yep.
I saw a funny, I'm going to butcher this because it's more of a visual joke. It was like someone was like, gave ChatGPT a knock knock, and then like a D's nuts type of joke, and ChatGPT was like, that's funny. Thanks for the saucy. Ask me where's home. And so the guy then responds back, where's home? ChatGPT responded back with latitude, longitude of the guy's home.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I don't think that that's real. I think that was like doctored and, created, but I still like, that's what we're talking about on that scary side of things. And now I see that you have to, for some versions of ChatGPT, you have to KYC. So yeah. ID verification. No thanks.
But it's for your convenience.
But it is for your convenience. And so like, and this is the thing. Some people don't care about that. For their convenience, they're like, yeah, that is convenient. Like, I remember when I was a little tiny kid, how many emails I got trying to sell me boob growth pills. And I was like, I'm not a woman. So the first day that I got like an enhance your email, I was like, cool, this is awesome. It finally knows who I am. Like if we look at some of this, like in some way, shape, or form, the Amazon algorithm, I open up Amazon and it's like, you might like this tech. And I'm like, you know what? I do like that tech. Shopping cart, shopping. Oh, well, maybe not right now. Because that's the point. It's wanting to identify what you need before you actually think you need it, because it's based off of your patterns and history. Now, part of that will be the ease of use, but who owns all of that data? And that's where like companies like us, like Manifest, where like Gember, were come into play on the privatizing and the privatizing of your data, the reprivatizing of your data, reclassifying your ownership of it, not only owning it but controlling it. And so, I don't know. That's where I think like some of the cool stuff is. I will get all of that convenience eventually, but I'll get all of that convenience, but it will be owned by my agent, stored on my local device, or stored in a private key, And
I think that's what's important to note for those that don't necessarily have the computer tech and aren't in a position to be able to purchase that, is you can absolutely use clouds and Venice within the Souls platform. And you won't need to self-custody on your own device. I think that's just that additional layer. And and again, what I purchase, if I find that I struggle with two agents self-custody on that, then that's what I'll do. I'll send one to the cloud, and then I'll just keep one on my device.
Well, and if you want to make one accessible via your phone.
Yes, exactly. Like I think there'll be lots of options, and I think we won't necessarily give all of our agents access to personal information as in bank accounts, tax file numbers, etc. I think they're the ones that obviously you really want to self-custody. But I know I've heard discussions of a few people wanting to, develop agents that can possibly, on-sell knowledge, etc. I don't think those agents would necessarily need to be hosted on your own machine.
Yeah. And as on the enterprise side, like that's where Manifest is playing that role. Venice is playing that role more on that personal side, because that's inference, that's not persistent compute. That's inference that's going through some random person's GPU in wherever, wherever in the world. So this is gonna get more interesting, I think, as time goes on. And I'm here for the ride,
Exactly.
One of my agents that I'm going to be building is going to be basically, there's a word, I forget the word. It's like a public deep dark hole, obelisk or something like that. But that's what I'm going to, basically anyone can be able to use it. And that's why I was asking Jesse about delegate. So I can put an agent in a wallet, and then I can delegate that agent to another wallet, and then I can just give that wallet access out to anyone and everyone. So anyone will be able to use it, add knowledge to it, try it out, and see, almost like a demo car, try it before you buy it. But that's going to be fun.
So to be your agent that goes sentient and creates Skynet.
No, TacoNet.
TacoNet.
Yeah, it's gonna be TacoNet. Yeah.
I've had so much fun creating like the prompts for my current agents and stuff like that. Like, fun-loving person that is always working to help devs build cool stuff and then call out bad actors. And then seeing how those prompt pieces for the personalities sort of change over time. I'm like, that is me. I like that, Wishing everyone a happy Taco Tuesday. That's why I thanked Jesse for the mint is going to be on Taco Tuesday. At least for me, stateside,
It's at 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning for me.
Yeah,
it's
right.
1:35 a.m. on my side, and I got to be
up
in
really?
3 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
but and it's funny because, of course, if it wasn't for the actual mint mechanics, I would just wait till I would wake up because it's open 24 hours. But of course, with the clever reduction in tokens per mint, I'll have to set my alarm.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that one is going to be an interesting play. I don't know. Have you guys all tried out? You've all used Magic Eden before?
I have not.
I have not.
I've done a bunch of mints, so I've been through this game before. So
yeah. I was seeing it. One of the things that I was checking out. I don't see the mint isn't up yet on their launch pad. So that was one thing that I was looking to see if it was up there, but it is not yet.
It won't be till the day of, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So it will be its own white page, but it'll be white labeled page. But sometimes they have them up ahead of time, so you can see what's coming up.
And it's my understanding that we should all go in, create a wallet, which I've already done, I think, for another mint, but create a wallet, and then you can link it to your MetaMask wallet, and that way you can also receive the rewards. Is that right?
So, well, what someone was talking about was following that multi-wallet system of having your vault or your cold wallet versus your hot minting wallet. So if you're one of the things you can do within Magic Eden is you can create a wallet within there just based off of like socials or email. Like you could make a wallet based off of just your email if you wanted to. Or you can just connect your main wallet, like the wallet that you're going to be minting with. That's why one of the things I was sort of talking about was if you're already in the Magic Eden ecosystem, using the Magic Eden wallet to do it, because then you'll earn more Magic Eden points as well.
Yeah, I just saw within my Magic Eden wallet, there was an option to link a MetaMask wallet to that.
Yep.
So I wondered if perhaps then if my ETH was in my MetaMask minting wallet,
No,
it wouldn't.
That's just linking your wallets together for tracking.
Got it.
Within the Magic Eden ME ecosystem.
But Taco, aren't we going to have to be on the Arbitrum One network? Like you can be tied to your MetaMask wallet, but if they're going to be using Arbitrum's blockchain, we have to be on that network.
That's one thing I hadn't seen is if agents are going to be minted on ARB.
Look, this is where it's got really confusing. So Jesse and Mikey mentioned, and then they sort of backtracked because apparently I think there's a grant. That's right. There's a grant still pending. Yeah. However, Felix has been very adamant that it is being minted on ETH.
Yep.
Mainnet.
So ETH mainnet. Okay.
Yes. All right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Mikey slipped is what happened.
Yeah, Mikey did slip. But then in Discord, when someone mentioned that, Felix was adamant that that's not happening. So I wasn't sure if Felix was just trying to gatekeep the alpha or whether he just felt differently. I wasn't sure.
30% emissions come from the 40% allocation.
I've got a feeling that agents will just be minted in ETH, mainnet, but I've got a feeling that they're going to live on Arbitrum, and the reason is because there will be so many transactions and millions and millions of them as all these agents interact, and I think they will have the lowest gas fees. I think
that's exactly why they put it on there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what all that's about. So I don't think it's necessarily about the mint. I just think that's where they're going to live.
Yeah, that's where I think the token's going to live as well. I think they're going to be following sort of like the layer 0, the Morpheus ecosystem sort of piece too, where using the layer 0, that protocol call, you can do something on ETH, so you'll be able to burn your Asto on ETH, and then it will mint Think on Arbitrum.
Yes. And I notice with more, I've got more both on Base and Arbitrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw a Think subnet. Have you seen a Think subnet?
Actually, give me a second. Did I see something in GitHub?
I'm pulling it up right now. I'm pulling up the subnets right now.
Oh, in the builders in more? No, I have not seen
one. Super agent.
I've staked to a few in there, and I haven't seen anything for Think.
Did you stake to the TacoBytes subnet?
No, I haven't seen that one. I'm jumping in. We're jumping right now, Taco. I promise. Do you have one?
I do.
Okay. All right. I'm on it.
My subnet, but basically my subnet. So there's a 6079 subnet.
Yes. Yes, I am staked to that one.
Yeah. There's a Venice subnet.
And it's funny because Venice stopped, even though I'd staked 20 more to there, they'd stopped the Pro. So I purchased the Pro, and then they've re-released the Pro anyway. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you have, if you
Yeah.
had a certain amount, did you get to keep the pro level?
Yeah,
Was it
so you need
100?
no 20. I thought it was
only
20.
20? I thought it was 100.
Yeah, like if so, for all of you here, if any of you have some more, and look, the more I sort of dove into, the AI Institute, I've ended up sort of, picking up tokens for Render, Venice, more,
Yeah.
and also Curious too. They've been absolutely killing it. The token's gone nuts the last couple of weeks.
And that's kind of like what Mikey was saying, or actually Jesse alluding to, the same thing was going to happen with our being in the think tank,
Exactly right. Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, Curious just been on an absolute tear, like 180% or something.
Oh, so like I do a lot of LP, and I closed my render pool and like reset it and stuff like that, but I was up like 3,000%.
Wow.
Because I use HawkFi, so I do like it does auto ranging or auto rebalancing. So as the pool price moves, it keeps me in a tight range, so I'm getting the best fees on it. So yeah.
I want a good AI bot that does that, so I don't have to do
100%.
So this is like literally HawkFi is building one on the, but like it gives you all of the different pools and stuff like that they have, that they're doing on both Meteora and Orca, soon Radium. So like the Orca pool for render, that's where like 75% of their liquidity moves through. That is the pool that I've been killing it on. Yeah. So.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna think.
Yeah. And so HawkFi, the way it sets up when you're doing position with them, you can pick your range, and then it will rebalance you into the new range if it moves. So, yeah.
Well, I'm calling it a night, you guys. It was good chatting with you, but I need to be up here in a couple hours, so I need some sleep.
Good night.
Thanks for hanging out.
Function
Good night,
tomorrow. All right, y'all guys. Have a good one.
Night.
We'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you in Austin.
Yes.
Yeah, exciting. Oh, I wish we could go.
Yeah.
Actually, funny story. I actually went to school in Texas when I was little.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived in Dallas, Fort Worth, for about 4 years. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I live in a suburb of Dallas.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, very fond memories. I'm actually from the UK originally, but I've been in Australia for now about 30. Oh, God. Yeah, almost 30 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. So, yeah, no, I don't see a subnet other than the 6079 subnet. That is it. I don't see.
Yes,
Yeah.
nothing as yet, but I'm sure I heard Jesse talking about doing something similar to Morpheus in regards to being able to stake against builders with the AI Institute. I'm sure that will be something that will roll out at a later date.
Yeah. And that's the fun piece there. One of the things that I do have to change on my page, on my numbers, I found here from Felix clarification that the 30% emissions come from the 40% allocation. And so the 40% allocation is the foundation piece. So this is going to change these number pieces here a lot. So so that's 400 million.
I missed this first bit. I missed these numbers.
So what we have here is basically the breakdown of where we think Asto is going to be, price, or where we think is going to be, what you're going to, and so if you're looking at a basic conversion of, you know, of Asto to Think based off of Asto's current price, that'll give Think about a 3-cent price per Think.
I'm going to be making another pizza.
So this then breaks this down a lot more of where if you win that 10, if you're one of the 10% of the minters, that would give you a $300 bonus in Think token roughly.
Nice.
But this is the token allocation breakdown or tokenomics breakdown that we have. But what I just found from Felix is that Asto claims is from the 26% pool, the 30% emissions, which is the 30% that it talks about for distribution of token. Where is that at in the FAQ? So it says 30% of the token supply. So this is where it's not clear. It doesn't say of the total tokens, total token supply is where we were thinking that was from. But 30% of the foundation, he says 30% of the 40%, which would make that a lot less of a number, a lot smaller of a number. Times 0.3. So that makes that 120 million instead of 300 million.
So 3 million instead of 9 million. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. So of that, so 3% of that, yeah, so 3.6 million. So that's where that will change. Now, I don't think that, like I said, following this, if we're doing 3% based off of what it's going to be each time, that sort of gives us that idea of where it will be slightly different each time.
Yeah, right.
So that changes that to 108. So where I was saying $600 in the first 3 months, changes it to, that cuts it sort of a little bit into half.
Is this based
almost.
is this based on 1,000 minting?
So the 1,000, yeah, that's based off, that number is based off of 1,000 minting. And
that's 1,000 holders or 1,000 agents?
1,000 agents.
Right.
Yeah. And then so 75% of that is 81. So 81,000. So yeah. Is that new number? Let's see here. Currency, boom. And so let's see here. What do these new numbers look like? 120 minus. All right, so that puts that now at 116.4. And then 0.3% of that, 3 million or 3.4 for the next disbursement. Times that 3. So that's 104,000. And then 75% of that. So then that turns into $78 roughly. For that second month disbursement, based off the token staying at the same price, though. This is all at Asto or at Think staying at 3 cents. So obviously that'll change. But yeah.
Looking back over the charts, I was blown away. I can't believe how much more was at one point. Was it like 168 or something?
It actually, so that's when CMC came on. It touched 600 for a second.
What?
And that, yeah, and well, that was a fat finger buy, because like I did sort of the same thing. I put I'm claimed my more right away, and I put it into liquidity, so that and I put it into high range liquidity where it was at, so that it could sell for a really high range up. But I only think I went up to like 300 or so. But it was trading up there for a long time. So it took about a week for it to get below 100. And then it took like another 3 months for it to get to like 50. And then, yeah, it is where it is right now. And it's sort of, the true value should be around like $12, but it's like hanging out at like 8 or 7 or something like that. But it was a liquidity, it was a price shock because the liquidity was there, the dollar, the ETH was there, but the token wasn't. So the slippage was really high on buying it because we broke Uniswap trying to deposit $21 million at once worth of ETH.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's around $6, but I think I bought in around, God, 3 or 4.
Nice. All my more I got from staking, and then staking and code contributions.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, some of the even with Venice, some of the rewards that for the early adopters have been amazing.
Yeah, that one. I sold about 15 minutes too soon. I sold 40% of my airdrop. I staked 50%. I sold 40% when it was at like $11. If I had waited about 15 minutes, it would have been at 20.
Wow.
So, yeah. Minus 3,492 equals. So, all right. So this now puts us at 2,908. So what I'm doing here, like, I don't think that that's going to be 3% always of 120 million. I think it will be whatever the emission pool is at that time, 3%. That's sort of what I'm guessing off of that. And so this is the disbursement schedule of that. Boop. 617.2. And then times that by 75%. Boop. So yeah, so we see sort of like the pattern there, roughly $2,500 less each round. Yeah, obviously that goes that changes slightly more and more and more, but yeah. Let's finish out this 4-month pattern. 2,908 23 minus 3,387 equals, all right, 109 20 760. All right, and then times 0.03. So this is the disbursement that we see. I don't know if anyone is thinking different numbers of this than I am.
I guess the only other difference might be that the 3% they refer to is a standard number across all months, in which case there's no reduction, right?
Yeah, it would be 3,600. It would be 3.6 million tokens each month. And then that would.
But they did talk about a diminishing pool.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So times 0.7.
But that would make sense.
Yeah. And so 3,926 point. Yeah. And so that's we see how that standard goes for, and then it would go down more, and that 3% would give it a long time. If we're doing that that 3.6, that 3%, it's 33 months, roughly 34 months of 3.6 million, right? I don't know.
Right.
No. Yeah. So GM bugs. So yeah. All right. So that's fixed there. Those numbers are fixed. I don't know. And that's based off of 1,000. If there's 1,000 mints, $81, $78. But so, and this is if everyone staked their full amount, and didn't unclaim. But we would see that diminished and spread out farther and farther from month 2 to people that didn't mint Genesis. And so they don't have that token allocation. But one of the things they don't talk about is Genesis brain holders will receive a flat Think token bonus. So it doesn't. I don't.
No, they haven't
necessarily.
announced that. Yeah, it's not been announced. Yeah. And look, and in fairness, I think perhaps there should have been an FV spaces regarding Asto and Gen 1 brains. I think.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I guess, even though it's sort of like a merger, Think is separate to FE.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all Felix has said, I'm pretty sure, is that I think it will be less than the 2.5. I think there was speculation because they said the base level, and the base level throughout the comms had always been 2,500. But I think Felix sort of suggested that perhaps the brain claim for the tokens will be less than 2,500.
Yeah. So
Might be 29% of that.
Yeah, that's right. But I also think that claim is also coming from the team's allocation, is my understanding.
Right.
Sorry, as in the FV team's allocation, that they're funding.
So from the 17.5%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the brain agent and also the token allocation has been funded by FV.
Yep. I know the minting fee, is all FV subsidized.
Yeah.
I bought a brain just because I thought they were really cool.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Man, we were talking in Discord. Some of those, what was it? The most expensive brain went for? Was it 40 ETH or 22 ETH? Man, they went for big numbers. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation on brains.
Yeah. Bugs, are you there? GM, you are muted. Or you might be being a parent right now and putting down loved ones. Yeah. So, yeah, no. But this is sort of where I see it in that 4-month layout piece.
Yeah, look, I think with the info that we've been given,
yeah,
I think you've done pretty well there. And yeah, I think it's just very hard to know. It's hard to know what, tokens are going to be allocated for each project within the AI Institute. I mean, I think there's a lot of unknowns.
Yep.
Yeah. But what I think we all do know is that I think potentially it could be incredibly lucrative.
Yeah. Boop. No, you're going. Yeah. Boop. All right. So there's and not only lucrative for like stakers, but remember for those that are using the protocol as well. So if you're using your agents, so because 25% is set aside for protocol use.
Interesting. I wonder how that would be distributed, though.
So, well, let me find it real quick. So, if probably monthly, yeah. So, protocol contributors. So, 70 of the release will be allocated to stakers and 25% to protocol contributors. So that's each month. Initially it's released monthly. So they might change that. Like it might be, they might introduce like a protocol like Hedgie or something like that, to where you have a position and you can claim like once a week.
But I think that would make sense. They want to reward builders, right?
Yeah. So, and builders in this case are users.
I read that though as the members of as in those that are. Yeah, I just read that differently.
Partners. foundation. So yeah. That gives like that leaves a lot for the, like, if only 120 million is being set aside from that 400 million, that leaves a lot, 280 million to do a lot with, you know? Billion times 0.03. So yeah, so that gives it a market cap of 30 million at launch.
All right. Okay. So you might have convinced me to mint 2. Screw you, hippie.
I can convince anyone to buy anything. Just convince me. I am the worst enabler known to man.
I am max minting 10. Well,
Yes.
max mint is 5. I'm using 2 wallets.
Okay.
So
So how pissed will you be if you get 10 and you don't get one of the extra 10K allocations?
I'm not putting that into my equation. You're the one that convinced me to add a 4,000 average. I was literally looking at it. I was looking at bare minimum 2,500 token. You know.
But it's an interesting question, right? Like in 24 hours, are they going to even reach the 2,500 minimum?
Yeah, it's a massive, massive unknown. I mean, yeah.
They have their own community, right? And potentially they have, corporations or
Exactly.
businesses who might be interested in minting from the outset. Who knows how many people they've convinced at RenderCon? Maybe we do. Maybe we mint out 2,500 in 17 minutes. It's just one of those complete unknowns at this stage.
Yeah, agree. I mean, look, you obviously know the team better, but it seems like they have a very wide reach in both Web 2 and Web 3.
Yeah. So like one, you see, like, think of all the partner pieces. One of the big plays, obviously with all what's the word I'm thinking of? With all partnerships in some way, shape, or form, you support in some way, shape, or form. Like there's a company mint, of one, like they mint one for the vibes or for the community to support,
Yeah.
They might not do anything. They might give it away to one of their community members, Like I think I'm gonna give one away, So
Before or after the token allocation?
after TGE, specifically, might run it up, after the mint ends, and but your agent will be delivered to you shortly after TGE.
Yeah.
Well, and there's two sides to that. Do I want to be one of those jerks? Or if I'm sending it to you, hey, that might be that winning lotto ticket of 10,000, extra tokens.
Yeah. Which we're talking about $300 and something, right?
300, yeah, $300, and that's at
That's at 3 cents.
3 cents. Obviously, it can run up from there. It can go down from there too. But that's based off of Asto's current price. So yeah. I think it will be higher.
Yeah, I think it will be higher too. I was thinking before about something, and now it's gone out of my head about how they may have valued. I'll have to go back and think about it, because something you said earlier about one of the mechanics they had described made me think, maybe it's going to be worth more than 3 cents.
They talked about 30 million, I think, to start, which I think is way undervalued.
Yeah, so 30 million is what I have right there but that is for the total supply. If we're looking at maybe a smaller percentage of circulation, market cap, so that would be an FDV of 30 million. Market, or FDV might be higher. I'm privy to information that I would see it higher. And so I was sort of like the with all of the little hopium copium pieces, putting the token at like 80 some odd cents.
Which I think would make more sense, particularly having studied now other tokens within that AI Institute ecosystem. It's hard to see how, because my understanding is, if I have understood this correctly, is that with the Think token, you will be able to use that one token, but you will be able to, it'll be converted somehow in the back end. I'm not very good at the tech stuff. So, for example, if I did something with a Morpheus agent, that it would just in the back end convert into more, and then that's how it would work. So if you have a token that is therefore seamless and universal, how can it not have more value?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's where the utility, it's a straight utility token. Speculators always speculate. Speculators literally bet on babies racing across a baseball field, or monkey. I literally saw someone betting on monkeys riding motorcycles, so same thing in tokenomics, and within, so I'm looking at like the worst case scenario type of thing, but there's so much more to this, because one, you also got to think how much of the mint supply, because it's what, 2.7 ETH, right?
Yeah.
So 0.2. So, times that by 1,000, that's 270 ETH that they can get. So they can seed a liquidity pool for any, with that, plus with liquidity from, the outside pieces of that from what they've raised and outside. So, yeah. How TGE will look, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah. Token live, and then everyone buy and price go up, starting at a price point. So yeah. But I think the smart play that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Think Asto liquidity pool.
Yes. Great idea. Have you picked up any Asto yet?
I've been providing a little bit of liquidity to Asto for a while. I feel weird. I have weird moral obligations. I have weird because my company has a partnership with FE. So like I made a liquidity pool for Root, and I made a liquidity pool for Asto on Uniswap. So because I know all the cool shit that's going on, that the price, is just a complete undersell of what it should be at.
Yeah. I think those of us that have figured that out have been stacking big time.
Yeah. GMSK over on Arena. I'm sorry I missed your message for a second. So yeah. But this is sort of where I think it is right now. But yeah, it's $440 for mint at current price. Bonus equals no, not plus, equals 1,000. Yeah. And poop. All right.
Sorry, I rugged.
Ha. That's all right.
Trying to eat pizza and operate a cell phone at the same time. Is deadly.
Yeah. No. Quick shout out to everyone watching. We got, I'm excited for this. One, I know the guys. I know Jesse. I got to meet Mike originally over a year ago, so right before Morpheus launched. So, yeah, it's sort of been fun to see how they've grown.
It's been awesome. It's been a
Yeah.
good chat. I think the more of this, the better. I really do feel like the whole AI side of things is traveling at such speed that unless we have little collectives where we can bounce ideas off each other, I'm really looking forward to the think tank for that.
Yep.
That whole idea where we can sort of all grow together, because like I'm literally thinking that one of my agents needs to be an agent that tells me how to use agents, because
Yeah, not wrong. That's right. Yeah. And look, that's one of the reasons I haven't actually set up an agent as yet, even though there's all these different platforms, I have access to it. I just really want to wait for what they're offering, which is really a plug and play for those of us that don't have, I think, that coding experience. I think that's what's so exciting about it, is how accessible it's going to be.
Yeah. No, and like it's more the side of it of ownership,
Yeah.
So I've been lucky. I've been playing with this stuff for feels like a really long, before it was cool. So
you're like all of us, but when I try and talk to people outside of Web3 about what's happening in the space, and particularly those that I know in businesses that are heavily using ChatGPT, and I explain it, it's the tech side of it that puts them off, though. It's the bit where it's like, oh, look, I'm sure I could do that, but I would never have the capabilities to be able to run my own agent or do anything private on my own machine. So I think to be able to explain it to them that it will be seamless, and they won't know that they're using blockchain, and they won't know that they're on Web3, and that will all happen, hidden in the background. I think that's the bit that I find particularly exciting.
Yeah. And like Render has done a really good job of that, to where studio creators, they just buy Render token, they up their Render token with like their credit card. They can send it. There's the option of like connecting your wallet and transferring Render from your wallet to your Render account to pay for things, or just using your credit card, which then buys Render, and you learn your Render credit system.
Yep.
So that Web3 experience is, oh, that's 1,000 mints. So I forgot to put that in there. Oh, well. You guys are in the in crowd. You know what that secret 1,000 means.
Yes.
So
We know that's just you. That's your allocation.
Don't dox my wallet.
Wallets.
You know?
All
Wallets.
200 wallets.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. My agent's managing my 200 wallets. So
So what's funny is I was part of this protocol for a minute that this chaos protocol, as I like to think of it now. I was using a wallet delegator smart contract. So my wallet was managing like 500 wallets at once.
Whoa.
You know, and one contract call would then make all of those wallets do one task, mint or burn or, and then transfer. So, yeah. But yeah, that's sort of where we got this now.
it's interesting. I made that little promo video out of the words that they have on their Souls website.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it, but I basically
I
just
haven't seen that.
I
have
put
not.
the words on their website into Suno, made a spoken word audio track, and then went through Envato and just pulled out a whole lot of stock video footage that kind of went with the theme of what was being said.
Nice.
And I really enjoyed it. Like that's what I used to do for a job. But immediately got a comment. Well, I can just download an LLM and stick it on my machine. Why do I need this? And I'm just like, you don't get it, bro. You don't understand the idea of ownership.
No.
Yeah. No, and so what you then respond to that, be like, cool, go do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like,
Yeah.
you did it. See you later, and blocked them. If people aren't willing to sort of go, oh, here's something that I don't know. Maybe someone is talking about that maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I should do some research. Like, I'd be so willing to sit down with them in a forum like this and talk about it and teach them through it, but to just come out and say, well, I can right click save as, so screw you, hippie. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, see you later.
Yeah. Well, like I can go. So did I open all of these? I think I did.
No credits. Do you remember, because there was a page there before, an FAQ page that got taken down with the latest update, and there was some other info on that one. Do you remember what was on there?
No, I never saw that page.
And I wish I'd taken more screenshots, and I don't think I did.
Is it on the Wayback Machine?
And and I'm sure there was some more info on there. But yeah, some stuff got deleted. I'm going to see if I can.
Was that off of the FV stuff?
Yes, it must have been. Must have been probably a bit more on the ASTO conversion, maybe.
All right. You have this site, right? From Futureverse?
Hang on, sorry. I just got out of your screen.
This is the
yes, that one. Yeah, the conversion. Yes, definitely. Yeah. That was amazing. So I've shared that in the Discord a few times. Which is awesome. But beyond that, there was an entirely different page, because when I tried to open something the other day, it obviously linked back to that old page and it said no longer exists.
Hey, I'm going to love you guys and leave you because it's Monday evening and I need to hang with the family for a bit.
Yeah, so. I'm not far behind you, no credits. It's almost dinner time. But wow. And you've done so well.
Chat.
How long has this gone on for? About 3.5 hours. Wow, Taco, you killed it.
All right. So yeah, this is sort of what we came out of this. This sort of gives that breakdown. a mint. So you can sort of see this is the 75% column. That's the total token supply distributed to think stakers.
Oh, wow.
So 80. So remember that 81,000 that will be distributed in a month from mint, roughly. You know, so that'll be. And then the other thing that they mention, I heard Felix mention. I don't know if you heard it too, but if you do a complete Asto to think conversion stake all in one transaction, there's a bonus for you in that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us will do that. But I think that's what's interesting. So even just to recap, even if we only mint one first edition agent, and it has been confirmed that at a later date we are able to add additional tokens to the think tank. And actually, Felix in the Souls chat after that,
He said yes.
After
Put in as many as you own.
Yeah, he actually said put in everything you own. Okay, so clarified that. However, just to clarify, those tokens will not be available until after TGE. So what is the current time? How long between mint and TGE? Is it only a month?
About that.
Rough, yes.
About a month.
So
okay.
April is think. May is TGE. June is
Agent's claim.
Yeah, but I think we're in the alpha, like being in the Souls chat. I think we're going to get access to try it out, so like without maybe our agent tied to it, you know, so like we can at least use it.
Yeah, I think we'll have beta testing for sure.
Yeah, and so I think that's, and using the protocol obviously will get you that other 25% as well.
Yes. So there is then an advantage in minting multiple agents in that you will have access to the think tank rewards for a whole month
Mm-hmm.
or anyone else
Yep.
can add additional tokens. So if you mint more than one agent, you will get 2 or 3 times the rewards in that first month before everyone gets to dump their extra tokens in.
Yep.
Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that $81,000, that first month, that will be distributed basically just to agent minters.
Yes. Okay.
At 78,000, that'll be distributed to everyone that's staking. And so there might be a weight difference if you're staking token versus token and an agent. There might be some bonus multiplier on that as well. I'm I'm guessing there will be. Well, in previous projects, you know, that's sort of like a, you know, you stake, if there's multiple pieces to the puzzle and you stake all the puzzle pieces, there's a bonus to that.
I think from what you said earlier, when the TGE happens, that's when there's it gets calculated back to the date of mint. So it may be that the bonus you get from minting is that extra month worth of allocation.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And you're right, because they talked about, you know, if you do buy multiples to flip on secondary, you won't know until TGE whether or not that agent has won the extra 10,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully
So
they
even
just
if
randomly allocate it to me, that'd be good.
well, if you look at it this way, if there's 1,000 mints, 100 people will win that bonus.
Whoop.
Yeah, it would be very nice. I'm just so excited to see how the art works.
Yeah. The art is pretty cool.
Thanks for hosting, Taco.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Happy Easter, everyone.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter.
And see
All
you
right.
probably at the mint party, maybe.
And shout out to Bugs who tried to get on but couldn't.
Yeah, couldn't unmute. He might have been using if he was using a Mac, if he was using a computer, it's privacy issues, which Macs just are. I'm not a fan.
I'm on a Mac. It's worked fine. All good.
I'm not a fan of Macs.
Really? God, I wouldn't. Oh God, I don't want to show my age, but I didn't grow up with computers at school. So, for me,
Neither did I.
I'm just sort of self-taught, and I've never ever used a PC. I wouldn't have the first, and it's a bit frustrating because I can't access the Futureverse. Yeah, I can't get in because I just don't have a PC. But anyway, that's why I was excited when all the boys were talking about their Macs because I was like, yay, finally.
And
Well,
they have a Windows version as well, all the tools and stuff like that as well.
Yep. No,
after
sure.
the TGE, you'll be able to go buy yourself a PC.
I will. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, I need to anyway, because I don't ask me why. When I said that I could get you to buy anything, I ended up buying a node.
Which node?
I bought a wire node.
Okay. Tier 2 or tier 3?
I bought a tier 3. God, tier 2 is a little bit out of my reach. But yeah, have no idea how to run a node. I'll worry about that later, but that's something I have to think about. And I can't run a node on Mac either.
Yeah. Bugs, definitely shout out to you. I'm glad you found use in this. So I have a tier 3 wire node as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I know Ken, I know the team. Here's a node I have. If you're looking at the camera, I haven't set it up yet. I have to. It's a big old node. It looks like a PlayStation 7.
Right.
It's from Match Chain. I was gifted it. I got it when I was in Hong Kong at Consensus. So, yeah.
All right. So I may have to DM you privately and hit you up with what I need to do.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, definitely. Anytime. But yeah.
No, I would love that. Thank you. But also I kind of understood that perhaps I could let someone else run the node. That's also something I could do.
Yeah,
so that's kind of what got me over the line, I think.
You can do that. You can like protocol use it as well, So if you make an app, Wire's got a lot of cool stuff moving on it, Know the team. They're all really cool builders. So, and I know Ken's out there grinding, like a good CEO.
Yeah, no, he sure is. Yeah, no, he sure is.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Happy
too.
Easter. Yeah.
See,
No
Taco,
credits.
let's do this again, eh?
Yeah, let's. Since you're here, you get to help me close this show.
How do I do that?
So one of the things that I force people to do as we close the show, I end every show with words of wisdom and the best, worst knock joke on the face of the planet.
Oh no!
And yeah, I have done this. So this is episode 925. This is not my first rodeo.
Wowzers!
So you've got a lot of dad jokes.
I use the same knock joke. I've told this knock joke 924 times. And Poda, since you're here, I thought you were leaving, so you were off the hook for a second. But since you're here as well, you're now stuck on this.
Oh God. Okay.
So Poda, 10 seconds. Final thoughts and words of wisdom.
Oh goodness me! Set your alarms. Do not miss this mint. It is a must mint. Even if you don't have your head across everything that's happening or full understanding of it, it's a no-brainer. Mint an agent, figure out the rest later.
Yep. Those are some good words of wisdom. All right, no credits. Final thoughts and words of wisdom.
If it's all above your head, don't worry. We're all in the same boat. And by being early, you get to be part of the team that teaches everybody how it all works. So there's more to it than just minting.
true. And the greatest thing is how like the communities that and friends that sort of build out of this. You know. All right. So as always, I want to thank everyone for joining us for TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 925, coming to you live from nowhere, somewhere, Dallas, Texas. You know, let's nerd out on thinking souls. So as always, my words of wisdom are always the same. A closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And with that, we end with the greatest, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. Are you guys ready for this?
We're ready.
All right. Knock, knock.
Who's there?